What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto summons Gamabunta in Chunin exams? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments, and also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. Naruto blew the candles out. Happy 6th birthday, Naruto, he said to himself. It was another year celebrating his birthday by himself. He always got beat up on this day, so he had stuck to staying home to do his birthday for a while. Naruto would get his special ramen gift from Ichiraku and make his candle himself to blow out. He had never received a birthday present in his life. Then there was a knock on his door. Naruto went to the door and opened it. Outside his door, there was a man with long white hair and red streaks on both eyes. "Hello?" Naruto asked, frightened. "Is this guy here to beat me up?" he thought. "Naruto Uzumaki, correct?" the man asked. Naruto nodded hurriedly. "I'm a friend of your father's. He wanted me to give you this on your 6th birthday," he responded, handing a box to Naruto. My dad?" Naruto sputtered. "You knew him? A gift?" The boy was utterly shocked. This man had just said he was a friend of his deceased father and handed him a birthday gift for the first time in his life. "Yeah, he and I go way back. Anyways, have a happy birthday." "Oh, and the name's Jiraiya," Jiraiya said and disappeared with a poof. Once Naruto had recovered from his shock, he ran inside and tore open the box, awaiting his gift. When he finally opened it, he saw a scroll, a letter, and some weird kunai inside. While he hadn't received any gifts before, he knew that it was customary to read the letter first, so Naruto picked up the letter. It read as follows. "Dear Naruto, if you are reading this, it means me and your mother have unfortunately died. I have decided to entrust you with all of my jutsu and techniques in hopes that they will help you along your path as a leaf shinobi and make sure that you don't lose to death as early as we did. I want to tell you that your mother and I love you so much and wish you a wonderful life, full of amazing friends that will be there for you in our place. Lots of love, Dad and Mom." The jutsu that the scroll contains are Flying Raijin, Rasengan, Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu, Adamantine Sealing Chains. As Naruto finished reading the letter, he wiped tears from his face. His dad, who had died, cared enough to give his son his jutsu. "Thank you, Dad," he thought to himself, looking up. Naruto sat there, staring at the letter for what seemed like hours, reading it over and over again. What the hell, Naruto thought and picked up the scroll. He saw a note on the scroll that said, "Sorry, Naruto, this scroll is sealed, so you need to put some blood on the square here, just so I make sure this gets to my son." Naruto picked up one of the weird kunai in the box, and cut his finger, letting some blood drip onto the little black clasp that was holding the scroll closed. The square holding the scroll together unclasped and fell open. "Time to get to work. I've been training for the academy, so hopefully, this will make me stronger," Naruto said and pumped his fist in the air, "and then everyone will respect me, believe it." And then the boy got to work. Naruto looked up. He had been training for 6 hours. "Oh God, I'm exhausted," Naruto said as he laid down. It had been a week since he got his gift, and he had been training non-stop ever since. "I can't quit now. I've just barely begun. Soon, everyone in the village will respect my strength," Naruto yelled as he pumped his fist in the air, relaxing on the soft and colorful green grass of Training Ground 4, while he dozed off to the calming sound of the nearby stream. When Naruto awoke, he saw that the sun was still rising and that his surroundings had been covered in a thin layer of dew while he was asleep. He took in a breath of fresh and light morning air as he stretched and tried to become fully awake. After a few minutes of splashing water on his face from the nearby stream, he got up. "Time to train. I already learned the Multi-Shadow Clone 1, so it's time the next one," Naruto said before grabbing the scroll that his dad had left for him and picking a new Chunin level jutsu to learn. 2 weeks later. "Yes," Naruto exclaimed, producing sealing chains from his back that shredded the tree he had hacked to bits, causing a loud crashing sound to echo across the training grounds. He then created way too many shadow clones, which all erupted chains from themselves as well, practically leveling an entire forest. "Damn it," Naruto stated, "I have no control over what I do. Sometimes I do practically nothing and others I do." He paused. "Well this." He gestured angrily at the destroyed area before him. "Okay, I will forget about the jutsu for a second and work on this Goshidan control of mine," he thought to himself, biting his lower lip. 7 months later. Naruto fell backward onto the familiar green grass in clear annoyance. Chakra's control training was proving harder than he thought. At the rate he was going, it would take a decade before he would be able to use a single technique correctly. He needed a teacher. As Naruto walked into the village's main road, the whispers and glares came instantaneously. He ignored them. For once in his life, he had something more important than his public image. Who to ask to help me? Naruto thought to himself, looking up at the afternoon blue. He bumped into a man wearing Anbu attire. Naruto quickly looked up to apologize, but when he did, he noticed something in the white-haired man's eye. It was a mixture of pity and recognition. Naruto froze. Do I know you? Naruto asked the man. No, you don't, the man said, and started to walk away. Wait, can I ask you a question? Naruto pleaded. I'm sorry, I have to the man suddenly surrounded by golden chains. Everyone on the street ran, the demon is attacking. They all said, what the hell? The man said, slightly sweat dropping. You will answer my question. Naruto yelled demandingly. Okay, the man said, the hell do you want? He looked up at the child. Why did I see that in your eyes? Why? No, how do you know me? Naruto yelled in the man's face. I knew your dad. The man said. Naruto released him. That's what that other guy said when he gave me my gift. What's with all these white-haired dudes knowing my dad? Naruto became lost and thought. The hell? Gift? Anyways, my name is Kakashi. Hitaki Kakashi. The man now known as Kakashi said. Hey, if you knew my dad, does that mean you can train me? Naruto asked the man with a look of pleading to fill his eyes as the villagers moved back onto the street, still flashing his whispers and glares. Alright, I guess I have nothing better to do. Haha, Kakashi said weakly, looking up at the blue-eyed boy staring down at him. 1 year later, Naruto pumped his fist in the air. Yes, Naruto practically screamed, making Kakashi cringe. Naruto, if you are going to say something, say it in a normal tone. My ears are gonna burst one of these days, Kakashi groaned, putting a finger to his mask where his lips were. Okay, but I'm just so happy. I can finally control the amount of chakra I put out to the point where I can compress it in this water balloon. Naruto said excitedly. Kakashi had started teaching Naruto the Rasengan. Plus, this is only the first step, you know, don't get all rowdy yet, Kakashi said knowingly. Naruto's mouth formed into an O. Okay Kakashi-sensei. Naruto drawled the last word, knowing that the white-haired man would get annoyed. Haha, I'm reading HaiseUchiha Paradise so you can't make me annoyed. Kakashi laughed with his favorite book in his face. Ah, you're no fun. Can you teach me the next step now? Naruto begged Kakashi. Alright, here, this one is a little harder, so you'll need to have even more control. Kakashi handed Naruto a white rubber ball. Okay, I'm ready, Naruto said. Naruto concentrated his chakra into the rubber ball, spinning it, and making it burst the rubber ball. That's great, Naruto. I can't believe you got it first, Kakashi was cut off by something he saw. Under the burst rubber ball was a ball of spinning blue chakra. Naruto had made a Rasengan. Holy cow, Naruto, that's a mastered Rasengan. Kakashi exclaimed, pointing at the jutsu in Naruto's hand. Naruto's eyes widened as he realized what he had done. He slammed the Rasengan into a tree and jumped for joy. Time to learn the flying Rasengan jutsu. Naruto made his way through the hallways and into his first class of the day. Okay, welcome back to the academy, a man in Chunin clothes with brown hair said excitedly. Let's start off with some roll call. He did a quick roll call and got right into the lesson. Okay, so first thing in the day we are going to do a quick test to see where everyone is at, Iruka said. A little more seriously this time, it was a test after all. Iruka took the class outside to a medium-sized training area where they were to demonstrate skill and spar. Iruka called 2 names, and the kids walked over to a small arena-style circle where the sparring would happen. The kids fought, and it was clear that neither of them had much skill, and had probably practiced and trained very little. Kiba Inuzuka and Shino Aburame, will you please come to the arena, Iruka said, and the 2 kids walked over. Okay, begin. The 2 started fighting. Kiba and Akamaru attacked Shino and all Shino could do was defend minimally with his bugs. The fight took a while but eventually, Kiba won. Iruka called a few more kids up until there were only 2 left. Naruto, Sayuri, Iruka said, and the 2 kids walked up. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Sayuri will win because everyone knew Sayuri was from the Uchiha clan. And Naruto was just the prankster kid that everyone hated. Sayuri and Naruto got into fighting positions. "Begin," said Iruka, louder this time because he knew it was the last. Naruto and Sayuri attacked, blocking and kicking and moving around the circle. Everyone including Sayuri was shocked. How did Naruto keep up with the prodigy Uchiha heir? Granted, Naruto barely comes to class, but still. Naruto began to overpower Sayuri and Sayuri said, "Fire style, fireball jutsu," and a large fireball spewed from his mouth. Naruto erupted into smoke. Naruto came up from underground Sayuri with a Rasengan and slammed it into Sayuri's jaw, making him fly backward into a nearby tree, knocking him out. "Whoops, I guess I didn't go as easy as Kakashi-sensei told me to," Naruto said with a laugh. Everyone was dumbfounded. Naruto, was that an A- rank jutsu? Iruka asked with a shocked expression on his face. Yeah? Naruto said, confused. "Well, you see usually only Chunin and up can use that level of jutsu," Iruka said. "Did this kid not know that an A- rank jutsu is difficult?" Iruka thought to himself in disbelief. It took more chakra control than the B-rank one, so I guess I kind of knew," Naruto said with a laugh. 6 hours later. "Kakashi, am I strong?" Naruto asked, looked up at his sensei. "Of course Naruto, you're only 6, and you're strong even for a ninja," Kakashi said, patting Naruto on the head. "Okay, well I can never be too strong, so let's go practice the flying Rasen. I almost have it down, I can tell," Naruto said excitedly. "Training nut," Kakashi muttered. "What was that?" Naruto said with a smile, making 30 shadow clones with double Rasengans and chakra chains. Nothing, Kakashi said, "let's just go," and the two walked away. Naruto threw 6 kunai, all at different speeds, landing 6 kicks on his sensei before returning to his original position. Flying Rasen. "Wow Naruto, you've mastered that, haven't you?" Kakashi said with a smile. "Yeah, I will pass the Genin test now," Naruto said and pumped his fist in the air. Naruto had been asked to be a genin in his first year at the academy. The next day. "Next up, Naruto Uzumaki," Iruka said loudly, obviously proud that one of his students graduated so soon. "I'm gonna hold this over the other teachers for years," Iruka thought to himself blissfully. Naruto walked up to the front of the room. "The first test, kunai throwing," Iruka said. Naruto picked up 4 kunai in both hands and nailed the targets perfectly, making many observers gasp. "Next up, specialty jutsu," Iruka continued, prompting Naruto to make a Rasengan. Finally, clone jutsu, Iruka finalized. "Let's put on a little show," Naruto thought with a sly smile. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 100 clones appeared around the classroom. "Did he say shadow clone?" someone said. "No way," another responded. You passed." Iruka sputtered, he knew his student was good, but 100 shadow clones? This kid was on another level. As Naruto walked home he sighed. "Man, this is boring. I need something, more exciting, that's it," Naruto exclaimed. Suddenly a man in a dog mask appeared in front of him. An Anbu member. Hi, do you need something?" Naruto asked with a quizzical look on his face, a little surprised. "Yes, you, Uzumaki Naruto, have been requested to join the Hidden Leaf's Anbu Black Ops," the masked man said. "Wait a minute, that voice. Kakashi-sensei?" Naruto said rather loudly, pointing his finger at the man. Kakashi pulled his mask to the side of his head. "Hey Naruto, I guess I trained you a little too well because the Hokage is asking you to join the Anbu," Kakashi said with a smile and pulled his mask back on his face. "Yeah, I'll join. I have been dreading becoming a genin because I'll have to do a bunch of boring missions," Naruto said happily. "Oh no, you don't," Kakashi said, waggling his finger. "You still have to be a genin, it is required," he finished, much to Naruto's dismay. Fine, Naruto said, annoyed. "Alright, it's settled. Let's get to Lord Third to tell him your answer," Kakashi said, and the two walked off together. 1 month later, Naruto walked to his team. Another mission. Naruto thought and sighed. He liked Anbu missions much better than the cat-catching trash that he had to do as a genin. When he had Anbu missions he could use his full strength, but as a genin, he had to act much weaker because if he didn't, he would be forced to do a ton of missions. A.N. I will use some OCs for his team, sorry if you don't like them, but it wouldn't make sense if Sasuke and Sakura were on his team. The team will be Naruto, Heihaso, and Hina. Hey, Naruto. Heihaso shouted at his friend, calling Naruto over to where he and Hina were sitting. Yo, Naruto said with a wave. Heihaso got up to tell his teammate what the mission for the day was. Today's mission, drumroll please. He started tapping on the ground, making Naruto cringe, is a C-rank mission. Finally, Hayate said excitedly. Naruto was not impressed. Naruto may have been excited if it was an S rank because he does B rank missions all the time. What? How are you not excited? Heihaso asked, dumbfounded. Naruto ignored him. He didn't like his loud and boisterous teammate. Hey, how's it going guys? Their sensei, HaiseUchiha said. A.N. Number 2. Shisui chose to be a leaf ninja and became a leaf Chunin in this story, so he won't get his eyes stolen and die because the Uchiha wouldn't order someone that works for the leaf to spy on Itachi, so it will be an OC named Koru doing it. I know Shisui being the sensei is not the most plausible thing, but I don't want that many OCs being important characters. Okay, the mission is to protect a salt merchant from thieves while he makes his way to the land of waves. Alright, this is you guys' first C rank, so try not to mess anything up, yeah? Shisui said and patted their heads. Naruto dodged. Naruto was bored, very bored, until he saw the puddle. The group was walking with a Toro, a salt merchant, and as they made their way down the path they passed by a puddle. Naruto and Shisui stopped. Naruto drew 2 kunai and threw them at the puddle in an instant. Suddenly 2 recently killed men appeared on the ground in place of the puddle. Holy crap! Heihaso exclaimed. Okay, what the hell was that? Heihaso and Hina asked in unison. Well, Shisui started and was cut off by Naruto. 2 ninjas, assumably after the salt dude, were hiding in a puddle genjutsu, assumably trying to kill us. So I killed them first. Naruto finished. Naruto, you didn't have to kill them, Shisui said. Well, I did, Naruto said bluntly and kept walking down the path. Wait, Mr. Oroto, you realize that because ninja that are capable of genjutsu attacked, that this is a B-rank mission? Shisui questioned the man. Okay, I'm sorry, I am actually a jewel merchant, and I lied because someone stole my merchandise and I was low on cash, but once I get to the wave and make my deal, I will pay you the extra, okay? Oroto pleaded with Shisui. Okay, as long as you pay. My genin are excited about their first C rank and I would hate to let them down by ending the mission, Shisui said. Thank you very much. Oroto thanked Shisui. The group continued on the path. Wow, this is turning out to be a very interesting mission, Naruto thought with a grin as a giant sword flew over the group's heads. Wow, Zabuza Momochi? Naruto asked, clearly impressed. The swordsman said nothing as he ran at them. Shisui flashed around Zabuza making clones, while Naruto pulled some kunai out of his pouch. Heihaso, help me with this okay? I have a plan. Hina, protect the jewel dude at all costs. Naruto said as he watched his leader fight. Got it, the two said and rushed to their respective places. Naruto, what's the plan? Heihaso asked. Okay, here. Naruto charged Zabuza, who had gotten Shisui in a water prison. Zabuza made a clone. 2 guys against a single kid. I suggest you back away. Zabuza said menacingly. I would, if I was just a single kid, Naruto said and made 300 shadow clones. I suggest you back away. Oh wait, I'll kill you anyway, Naruto said and 300 shadow clones threw their kunai. Wow, hundreds of you and you still missed. That's kinda sad actually, Zabuza said with a smirk. No, I hit my target, Naruto said. Naruto appeared behind Zabuza and kicked him in the leg. Zabuza turned around and tried to cut Naruto but he was gone. What the? Zabuza was cut off. His clone turned to water as Heihaso was revealed behind him. Nice plan Naruto. He went to give his teammate a high five but was ignored. Zabuza released Shisui and jumped away. You won this time, he said and jumped into the woods. Oh no, you don't. Naruto teleported to Zabuza and teleported him back. Zabuza was knocked out by a masked figure in the trees. I have been tracking Mr. Momochi for a while now, thank you for defeating him, I will take him in now. The mist ninja said and tried to grab Zabuza. I don't think so, your voice is wavering a bit, I say you're lying. Naruto throws a kunai and teleports to the ninja, knocking them out. Hey, Shisui? We should take them back to the leaf for interrogation, right? Naruto asked his leader. Yeah, that's a good idea, Shisui confirmed. Naruto made 3 shadow clones and told them to get Zabuza and the unidentified ninja back to the village. Thank you so much for your kindness. Here is the money you are owed for the B-rank mission, Oroto said with a smile and handed Shisui a briefcase. It is actually an A- rank because we encountered ninja from the bingo book. Sorry, Shisui said apologetically, scratching the back of his head. Oroto's sweat dropped. Okay, here you go, Oroto said, looking slightly crestfallen. Okay students, we are going to stay the night, so be on your best behavior, Shisui said and walked off to find an inn. PFTTT, talking like we are babies, Naruto said and turned his head. Well, you are 5 years younger than us, Heiaso started, but was cut off by a kunai to his throat. Do me a favor and shut up, K? Naruto said dangerously. Heiaso threw his hands up into the air. Okay, I'm sorry. Heiaso said sheepishly. Hey guys, I found an inn that will work for the 4 of us, follow me. Shisui said and led them towards their destination. When they got to the inn, they ordered some food and went to their rooms. As Naruto fell asleep, he almost immediately awoke in what seemed to be a large sewer. Naruto sped through the trees with his team, dropping a few kunai here and there to make sure he can be versatile if they were to be attacked. The mission was with Kakashi and Itachi. They were to meet up with other villages ninja to do a deal for ninjutsu. Hey, Fox, are you sure you are okay to do this mission? It is pretty dangerous, Itachi asked. Hey, just because I am a little younger than you doesn't mean I can't do missions. Naruto responded angrily. Calm down, Kitsune here is just worried because his little sister is your age, Kakashi informed. Oh okay, that makes sense, but I can take care of myself, I beat Sayuri easily. Naruto countered. Okay, I won't mention it again, Itachi said. When they arrived at the rendezvous point, the trio saw a group of foreign shinobi awaiting them in a small clearing. Naruto stayed back as support because they most likely wouldn't take a 7-year-old seriously and try to steal the scroll. Hello, do you have the ninjutsu scroll we requested to trade? The leader asked. Yes, and you also have the scroll we asked for, I assume? Kakashi countered. Yes, about that. Since you only have 2, and we have 6, I would say we will just take that scroll, he said and pulled out a kunai, prompting his 5 teammates to get into fighting stances and pull out weapons, all snickering menacingly. Itachi and Kakashi pulled out kunai. Naruto threw 7 kunai at the group. Crap, they hid people. One shinobi said. No, it's just 1, plus he missed all his kunai, we still have them outnumbered. Another said. Yes, but we have you outmatched, Kakashi said, prompting Naruto to flash around the group in a blur, stabbing them all repeatedly with his Anbu standard issue sword. Good job Naruto, Kakashi said as he watched all the shinobi's dead bodies fall to the ground. How did he do that? Itachi whispered to Kakashi incredulously. Well, of course, he would take after his sensei, Kakashi says, and his father. Itachi gave a look of confusion. He is my student and the son of Lord Fourth, Kakashi said, seeing the look on the boy's face. You are talking about me like I am not here, plus, it was more, my dad than you, so don't say his name after. Naruto said, stretching. If you don't mind me asking, I still don't exactly get it, could you explain? Itachi asked politely. Yeah, of course, my dad left me some crazy powerful jutsu and Kakashi taught me how to use them, Naruto informed, giving a thumbs up a little too close to Itachi's face. Enough chit-chat, we should head back to the leaf to report what happened during our mission, Kakashi said and disappeared into the woods. Itachi and Naruto looked at each other and shrugged. The two followed their team leader into the woods. Naruto yawned. Once he was done with missions for the day and had got his ramen, he always felt bored. He had his hands behind his head with his eyes closed when he bumped into someone. Naruto mumbled a quick sorry and started to walk away. Naruto? Is that you? A familiar voice said, why are you wearing an Anbu outfit? Naruto froze. His teammates weren't supposed to find out about him being in the Anbu for some reason that he couldn't remember at the moment because he was quaking. Ha Heiaso, Naruto said as he rubbed the back of his head, I was just, dressing up. Because, Naruto fumbled with his words and started talking unintelligibly. Are you in the Anbu? Heiaso asked with a confused look. Well, you see, maybe? Naruto looked away. Heiaso was shocked. What the hell? Heiaso said annoyed, why didn't you tell us, and why are you in Anbu? I know you are strong, but Anbu strong? Heiaso droned off, his words overlapping comically. Okay, well, to answer your questions, because I wasn't allowed to, because I was asked to, and I have been holding back, Naruto informed sheepishly. Heiaso looked like a mixture of impressed and pissed. He was just told the full story and was impressed that Naruto was so strong, and a little pissed because Naruto hid everything from him and that he could have helped a bit more on missions. I wasn't going to let you die or something because I was holding back, it was just so you guys could grow as a ninja yourselves without having someone on your team who does it all for you, Naruto said indignantly. Okay, that makes sense. I guess I am not so mad, you were my teammate at the end of the day, Heiaso responds eventually. So, don't tell anyone please? Naruto begged. I'm not, you can keep your little secret, Heiaso said. Want to head over to Ichiraku's? Naruto's face lit up. Is that even a question? Naruto said happily and bounded in the direction of his favorite ramen shop. He was such a kid, sometimes, Heiaso thought to himself, and followed Naruto. Naruto was getting his things in the Anbu locker room when 3 other Anbu came up to him. Hey, there is a super secret special mission that pays 10,000 ryo, you want to join in? I heard you were pretty strong, Monkey said. Hell yeah, I can buy at least 2 bowls of ramen with that kind of money, Naruto exclaimed. Just follow us, said Monkey. Naruto happily followed them with a spring in his step. They eventually arrived in a clearing in the forest. The 3 Anbu started chuckling. Hey, kid, don't you think you're a little young to be in the Anbu? Boar asked and pulled out a kunai. Realization dawned on Naruto's face. Oh, I see how it is. Naruto said dryly and threw a kunai past them into the air. The 3 rushed at Naruto, only to find that he was gone. They all got pushed to the ground at the same time from a hand on their backs. What the hell just happened? Bird asked, confused. Are you ready to give up? Naruto asked. No way. Boar yelled and did some maneuvers before throwing 2 shurikens at Naruto and driving his sword into him. Naruto exploded in smoke. Boar cursed before screaming in pain. Naruto had suddenly appeared behind him and slammed a Rasengan into his spine. How? Boar asked weakly before coughing up blood and falling to the ground, unconscious. Monkey and Bird shuddered. Now do you want to give up? Naruto asked. Never, Monkey said. You with me, Bird? Of course. Bird yelled and the 2 charged at Naruto, weaving hand signs. Water style. Water shotgun jutsu. Bird yelled. Earth style. Earth golem jutsu. Monkey yelled. The earth golem started throwing boulders at Naruto while rapid-fire water bullets came shooting at him. Naruto produced adamantine sealing chains from his torso and wrapped up the golem and crushed it while dodging the water shots. Naruto shook his head, you never learn. Naruto appeared behind Bird and stabbed him with a kunai multiple times before kicking him into a nearby tree, knocking him out. How did you do that? Monkey yelled outraged. It's simple, I put flying Raijin seals when I pushed you earlier, so I can teleport to you. Naruto appeared behind Monkey, making his eyes widen, at any time. Naruto finished and put a kunai against the back of his neck. Okay, you win. Monkey dropped his hands in defeat. Get your friends to the hospital, okay? Naruto asked. Monkey nodded his head and walked towards his teammates and picked them up. He then disappeared in a shunshin. Naruto arrived back at his house to get ready for bed when he saw a piece of paper attached to his front door. Chunin exam form. Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto's eyes lit up. 1 step closer to being the strongest and most respected ninja in the village, he thought, and pumped his fist into the air, obviously ready to go to bed happy. When the Leaf Genin arrives at the Sand Village, they are tired from the journey. Finally, Heiaso says and plops down on the ground near the main village gate, we made it. Okay guys, I'm sure you are all tired, so I'll take you to the inn we are staying at and you kids can explore tomorrow, alright? Shisui asks his team. Sounds like a plan, Hina says. Yeah, I can't wait to see the Sand Village, I've never been here before. Says Heiaso excitedly. Okay, Naruto says. When they arrive at the inn and find their rooms, the genin fall to sleep almost instantly, except for Naruto, who was given a specific mission by his Anbu captain before he left. Flashback. Naruto is walking down the street towards the village gate. Kakashi appears next to him. Naruto, Kakashi says, "Hold up. I need to debrief you on a mission for when you arrive in the Sand Village." "Okay, but my teammates will get mad if I am late, so make it quick," Naruto says, looking at his sensei. "Don't worry, once I'm done debriefing you, I'll give you my fail-safe excuses that will always work if you are late." Kakashi grins. "Okay," Naruto says, and the duo head to the main building in the Leaf for the info and documents for the mission. As they go over the mission, Kakashi reads aloud. "There have been rumors that there is an infamous bandit group that has been terrorizing people on the transit from Leaf and Sand, is hiding out in the Sand Village right now. All I need is for you to confirm or deny this intel." Kakashi says. "Got it," Naruto says with a nod. "So, what were those fail-safe excuses?" Well, flashback over. Naruto checks the documents for the specified location where the most sightings were. South side. Middle apartment, disguised. Naruto mumbles the various info to himself. Naruto thinks to himself, "I can't figure out at all where they are." While Naruto is extremely powerful, he never trained his mind as much, and if he did, he only studied for the Anbu test exam where he needed to know a lot of things about shinobi. Luckily, there was a part of the document putting together all the info that told him a precise location of where the bandits should be. He slips out of his room in the inn and heads out into the Sand Village. When he arrives at the location, he looks at the middle apartment. "Okay, I'll just listen in to see what's going on." Naruto hides under the window and uses a jutsu to hear through the closed window clearly. "People are finding out we are hiding here. We need to leave the sand before that Chunin exam thing starts because I know security is gonna be extra tight on that day." "I gotcha, man. Let's get some money off the people coming here from the village while we leave, Sounds alright to me, Godu. What do you think, boss? I suppose there wouldn't be any harm in taking a few thousand ryo." Naruto bites his lip. "I know I was just supposed to confirm, but the others won't arrive in time to arrest them if they are leaving tomorrow, so I guess I'm going to take them out right now." Naruto crashes through the window and slams the nearest guy with a Rasengan. The other men jump back in surprise. Naruto throws several kunai at them and jumps back as well. "Guys, it's just a little kid, we got this." One says, "Earth style, rock fist." A fist made of rock shoots at Naruto, but he disappears and knocks the man out with another Rasengan. Naruto then starts flashing around the bandits and knocks them all out one by one. Naruto makes a report of what happened and leaves the apartment. Naruto left the building, jumping and running quickly through the Sand Village in a flash. When he returns to the inn, he slips back through the window and falls asleep. Naruto is shaken awake by an excited teammate. The young ninja punches Heiaso into the opposite wall and pulls the covers over his head. "Alright, fine, Hina and I will enjoy the village by ourselves," Heiaso says with a HMPH and walks out. Naruto smiles and tries to go back to sleep. Heiaso goes outside the inn and meets Hina and Shisui waiting for him and Naruto. "Where is Naruto?" Hina asks. "Naruto is not getting out of bed," Heiaso huffs. "Don't worry, he'll get out of bed," Shisui says and laughs evilly while menacing kanji appear around him. Naruto is finally drifting back to sleep when his door is kicked open. "Hey Naruto, get out of bed," Shisui says. "Alright." Naruto gets up and smirks. "Well, that was easy." Shisui's sweat drops slightly. The team explores the village for the rest of the day, checking out all the different tourist spots and shops. Naruto mostly talks with Shisui about the upcoming exams and lets his teammates do most of the sightseeing. "Hey Heiaso, Shisui and I are going to train for the rest of the day, so Hina and you can go explore some more," Naruto says. "Okay," Heiaso responds with a wink. Naruto smirks and walks away with Shisui. "Okay, so what was that jutsu you wanted to teach me?" Naruto asks Shisui. "It is called the Flash Step. Similar to your Flying Raijin, except it has a shorter range and does not require the special kunai and seals that you use to teleport around," Shisui says as they walk past shops on their way to the village training grounds. In turn, it takes significant chakra control to use, and immense chakra to teleport longer distances, Shisui warns. I should be fine on both parts of those since I have had extensive training with Kakashi-sensei for chakra control and the Nine-Tails pretty much takes care of all my chakra needs, Naruto says. Shisui is visibly impressed but has some concerns. Naruto, I don't think you should rely on the Kyuubi's power because it might eventually consume you and the Nine-Tails could take over your body. Oh, don't worry about that. I defeated the Kurama and now he respects me and I have control over him. Naruto interrupts. Shisui's mouth is held agape. How? He trails off. Well, it happened after the jewel merchant escort mission. Flashback. As Naruto fell asleep he woke up in a large sewer-like area. A huge gate stood in front of him, with an ominous aura emanating from the massive cage. Hello, my imprisoner, how kind of you to meet me. A booming voice said sarcastically as two red eyes appeared in the darkness of the cage. Who are you? Naruto said frightened. My name is Kurama, the nine-tailed fox. The voice yells and the massive fox steps out of the darkness. I want you to take this seal off, and I will give you power beyond your very belief. Kurama told Naruto. Wait, is it your chakra that I always get when I run out? I know that I have a tailed beast inside of me, but I get power for taking that seal off? Naruto sends questions to the fox. Yes, the powerful and immense chakra that you use is mine, and you will gain lots of power by setting me free. Kurama answers. Naruto walks over to the seal and peels it off. The great doors creak and swing open, blowing air over Naruto. Kurama laughs. You fool! I will now take control of your body and, Kurama's bellowing voice is cut off as a massive Rasengan is smashed into the beast's stomach. Naruto throws a ton of kunai all around the beast, teleporting everywhere slamming Raijin seals on the fox. Naruto creates 100 shadow clones and they all teleport around Kurama in a barrage of Rasengans. The original Naruto falls to the ground and chuckles. Special technique. Naruto barrage. He yells as the fox is pummeled to submission. After the smoke clears Naruto stands in front of Kurama. From this day forth, you will become, Kurama winces, ready for his next enslavement, my partner. Naruto grins and holds out his fist to Kurama, indicating friendship. Kurama's eyes open wide. He, I like you kid. Partnership accepted, but on one condition. Kurama said. What's that? Naruto asked. That you let me out, and don't just use my chakra, Kurama said. Not a problem, Kurama. Flashback over. I can't believe you beat the Nine-Tails. That means you should have no problem learning the flash step. Shisui says and they continue for the rest of the short walk wordlessly. Time skip to the start of the exams. Team Shisui walks up to the first exam location. Good luck team, Shisui says and takes his leave. The trio goes inside and waits for the exam to start. When the exam starts Heiaso is having trouble with the exam. Naruto is finding all the answers easy and has no need to cheat since these are things he studied for when trying to join the Anbu. Hina uses a genjutsu to make herself appear sitting still but looks at the right answers from Naruto's paper, which Naruto told her was okay before the exams. The exam proctor says that if you fail the test you will never be able to try again for Chunin in the exams and that if you leave now, you can try again next year. About half of the ninja in the room leave after hearing this. Heiaso is about to follow the rest of the genin, but Naruto shoots him a dangerous look that says, don't, so he stays in his seat. Ironically, Heiaso is the one who gives a speech about how ninjas never give up, which prompts the proctor to reveal the truth of the exam, and the remaining genin pass. When they leave Hina speaks up. I think what you said was really nice, she says. And very hypocritical. Naruto murmurs. Heiaso rubs the back of his head and Hina gives a confused look. The start of the next exams was quite overwhelming. The new exam proctor brought the surviving genin to a large fence gate. Through the gate, there was a vast landscape of sand. This is the area in which you will compete in the second part of the Chunin exams. He paused. Each team will receive one scroll. A heaven or earth scroll. If you have a heaven scroll you will need to beat a team that has an earth scroll and takes it, and vice versa. Now, get to your gates, and get ready. The proctor finishes speaking and tells each team where to go. Naruto's team arrives at the gate. We will get past this exam. Naruto murmurs under his breath as if he can see the future. How do you know? Hina asks. I just know, Naruto says, not realizing that she heard him. That doesn't make any sense. Heiaso is cut off as the gates swing open. Hand me the scroll, Naruto says to Heiaso. Okay, Heiaso says and tosses the scroll to Naruto. The trio walks out into the desert. Around 10 minutes after walking around, the team is attacked. Hina and Heiaso are surprised and get pinned by two of the attacking team, but Naruto counters and knocks out the genin who attacked him. Naruto then almost teleports to the two who have his teammates pinned and knocks them out as well with strong punches to the gut. He then picks up their scroll and helps up his teammates. Wow, Naruto, that was amazing. Hina says. Just something Shisui taught me, he says with a smirk. Naruto and company start a run to the hut where they are supposed to turn in their scrolls. While running, Naruto spots another team heading towards them. I'll take care of the guys over there, you keep heading towards the hut. Heiaso and Hina nod in unison and Naruto tosses them the scrolls and heads towards the approaching trio. Naruto sends 5 kunai to the team, which all miss. The team breaks apart and charges up different jutsu. An instant before the jutsu takes him down, he flashes a few feet in front of the attack and slaps Rasengan seals on all their backs, pushing them to the ground and cancelling their attacks, which the attacking team mistakes as just pushes. The team got up. That was one quick move you have there. A boy says. But it will not suffice. The boy stands up, lightning style. Lightning mode. Lightning appears all around the boy. Azwa of the cloud, will take you down. The boy runs at Naruto, his speed improving considerably, but not enough to phase Naruto. Adamantine sealing chains, Naruto says, and Azwa is suddenly trapped by golden chains. What the hell? Naruto appears behind him and slams a Rasengan into the boy's back, knocking him out and breaking some bones with a sickening crunch. Looks like I went overboard, Naruto says, but no matter. He turns around and faces the two remaining teammates. Azwa, no, how? The teammates are knocked out in an instant and Naruto teleports to Heiaso, who is entering the hut with Hina. Heiaso jumps and falls over. Geez, give some warning before doing that, okay? Heiaso says while getting up. Yeah, Naruto says, clearly not intending to do anything of the sort in the future. When they open the door, they see it leads exactly where they came in, almost like a mirror. A genjutsu, Naruto said. Release. Naruto held up 2 fingers and the genjutsu fell, revealing that they were in an enemy team's trap. Shit, how did they escape? One asked no one in particular. I don't know, but we can still attack them. Sand style. Sand explosion. Sand gathers into a swirling ball in front of them and is hurled towards Hina and Heiaso. Naruto's eyes widen. Before impact, the ball explodes into sand shards that stab them, making small cuts all over their bodies. Naruto makes a giant Rasengan and flashes towards them. Sand style. Sand shield. A girl slams her hands on the ground, making a large amount of sand rise from the ground into a shield in front of the attacking trio. Naruto flash steps to the right of them and slams the large Rasengan into all of them in one hit, taking them all down. Naruto walks back to help his teammates with some medical ninjutsu first aid, which heals most of the small scratches and cuts around their bodies. They finally arrived at the actual location, which was just around a near sandhill. When they enter the hut, the proctor is there waiting for them. Great job guys, you finished second. He says, congratulating them. Second? Naruto asks. Yes, considering that you are so young, that is great, right? The proctor asks with slight confusion, for Naruto had spoken with some venom in his voice. Oh, of course, I would just like to meet the people who came first. Naruto responds, speaking with less spite this time. Oh, yeah, they are right over here. The proctor brings them to the other room. Sitting there was 3 genins. One with red hair and a mark that has the kanji for love on his forehead, a blonde girl with what seemed to be a large fan on her back, and a kid in a black bodysuit with something quite large covered in bandages strapped to his back. Something about the red-haired kid felt off to Naruto. Shukaku interested in you, he says creepily. May I know your name? Naruto smirked. Name's Naruto Uzumaki. And what about you? The boy stands up. Gaara of the Sand. Your team seems a bit young to be in these exams, don't you think? I could say the same about your age, Naruto. Well, in the Leaf Village, skill is what matters. I guess things don't differ much between lands. Naruto gets into a fighting stance. Want to see how much of a difference there is? Gaara also readies himself. Why not? The air tenses as the two are about to clash. Then the exam proctor steps in. There will plenty of chances to fight in the next stage of the exams. Now go back to your senseis, everyone. Naruto is walking throughout the village, searching for the next trainer that Shisui had assigned him to. Flashback. Naruto, I am assigning a special trainer for you since I need to train Heiaso for the next month, Shisui said. He will be at this location. Shisui handed him a map and walked away with Heiaso. When Naruto arrives at the location, he sees no one there. After a bit of searching, he comes to the conclusion that the trainer was a no-show. Guess I better look for him. Naruto sighed. Flashback over. As he walks past a bathhouse, he sees some guys staring at a crack in the wall. Stupid pervert. Guess today is his unlucky day because I need to blow off some steam. When he reaches the man, he brings a giant Rasengan crashing down on him, only to realize that it was a substitution jutsu. Ah, Naruto, so you figured out that I was a strong ninja by my chakra signal? The familiar-looking white-haired man said. No. Naruto is confused. So you were just gonna use that jutsu on a random guy? The man says. I guess. Wait, are you the one who was supposed to train me? Why else would you know my name? Naruto asks. So, you figured it out. That I am the legendary Sannin of the Leaf, the Toad Sage Jiraiya. Jiraiya says proudly. More like, pervy sage, Naruto laughs. Jiraiya readied his fist. The first test is an endurance test. He laughed evilly. Naruto made a Rasengan. Oh, it's on. Jiraiya throws a fist at Naruto only to find that he is gone. As he searches for his chakra, it suddenly spikes behind him. Jiraiya barely has time to react as Naruto aims a Rasengan at his back. Jiraiya twists around and counters with his own Rasengan. Naruto's eyes widen then narrow. How do you know my father's jutsu? He spats. He told me it was one of his special techniques. I know the Rasengan because your father is the one who taught me it. After all, wouldn't you teach your master a jutsu you created? Jiraiya says. You were my father's master? Naruto asks, in shock. Yes, I taught Minato Namikaze the fourth Hokage. Something suddenly clicks inside Naruto's memory. Wait a minute, aren't you the man who brought me the gift from my father when I was a kid? Naruto asks. Yes indeed, I was the only one he could trust with such a task. He grins. For the second time in his life, Naruto Uzumaki has to really wrap his head around something. That this pervy old sage was the mentor of his father. Naruto coughed up blood as the tired boy was punched in the gut. With his chakra and body being exhausted, adding to the fact that he was going all out against Sage Mode Jiraiya was enough to make the boy lose. They had been training for 3 days straight after Naruto had bragged to Jiraiya about Kurama's unlimited chakra. In turn, Jiraiya put him through brutal chakra training. As Naruto recovers from the blow, he just barely senses a small chakra behind him. He catches Jiraiya's fist and kicks him, sending him flying. Jiraiya disappears and speeds towards the kid. Naruto threw a kunai at the last second and made a Rasengan. He put all of his chakras into the Rasengan as it became a giant Rasengan. Jiraiya dodged the kunai, and faked a punch at Naruto, then punched him when he appeared behind Jiraiya. What Jiraiya forgot is that he was sending a fist at a giant Rasengan. The Rasengan engulfs his chest area and Naruto pushes forward, making Jiraiya go through a large rock and then throwing him 50 feet. Jiraiya disappears into a plume of smoke and comes out from under Naruto's feet and punches his jaw. How come I can barely sense you? Naruto yells angrily. The fact that you can barely sense me is actually quite good, Jiraiya says. I use Toad Sage Mode chakra control to hide my chakra. Naruto gives an impressive look to Jiraiya. Sage Mode, huh? Do you think I could learn that? Naruto asks Jiraiya. Well, not right now, but I will let you have a Toad summon, Jiraiya says. It was your father's summon as well, you know. Well then of course I want a Toad summon. Naruto says excitedly. Well okay. Here, just sign your name right here. He pulls off the scroll from his bag and opens it to reveal a list of names. Naruto takes the ink pen and cuts his finger with it. Using the pen he scrawls out his name Naruto Uzumaki on the paper. Jiraiya rolls the scroll back up and puts it on his back. Now, these are the hand seals for the summoning jutsu. He shows Naruto his hands as he slowly does the hand seals. Boar, dog, bird, monkey, ram. After a few minutes of practice, Naruto got it. Naruto did the hand seals and bit his thumb to reveal a drop of blood as he slammed his hands on the ground. Summoning jutsu. A large plume of smoke reveals itself. When it clears, Jiraiya sees a large red toad. "Hey Jiraiya, why'd you summon me?" Gamabunta asks. "I didn't summon you," Jiraiya says, shock evident in his voice. "What do you mean? Who else summons me?" Gamabunta asks. "My new student, apparently," Jiraiya says. Gamabunta looks up and sees a young boy standing atop him. "No way was I summoned by this little brat." Gamabunta snarls. "Yes, I did. And on my first try no less," Naruto says with a smirk. He murmurs a silent thanks to Kurama for the extra chakra. "What?" Gamabunta says. "Well, if you did summon me, then you should have no problem staying on my back all day." He shouts. "Of course not. I would have no—" Naruto's voice was lost in the wind as Gamabunta jumped 50 feet in the air. Naruto almost fell off but put a Rasengan seal on the head of Gamabunta so he could always teleport back if he fell off, and applied chakra to his feet to stay on his head. The rest of the day was spent on Gamabunta trying to throw the kid off but couldn't. "Garhggggg, how do you stay on?" Gamabunta yells in frustration. "You should be out of chakra by now, so how?" Gamabunta throws his head to the side, flinging Naruto off, or that's what it seems. Naruto suddenly appears right back to where he was on Gamabunta's head. "Hey, kid, what did you say your name was?" Gamabunta asks. "Naruto, Uzumaki Naruto." Naruto answers. Gamabunta's eyes widen as he looks at Jiraiya. Jiraiya flashes him a grin. "Well, Naruto Uzumaki, I give up. You get to summon me whenever you want," Gamabunta says with a smile. "Believe it," Naruto says. "I'll get so much stronger now, maybe I'll even learn Sage Mode from Jiraiya. When I do, everyone will look up to me for being the strongest." He thinks to himself. The two shinobi trained for a week under harsh conditions, fighting for days straight sometimes. "Hey, Naruto, have you tried adding a nature transformation to the Rasengan?" Jiraiya asks one day while they are resting. "No, actually. I wonder if that would improve the Rasengan." Naruto trails off in thought. Naruto then stands up. "I could probably do it, since I spent so long training chakra control with Kakashi, Yano?" Naruto says. He holds out his hand and a Rasengan appears. He then makes a Rasengan on his other hand with wind chakra. It is the same as its counterpart, just with a greenish color and a wind blade as a ring around it. Naruto walks over to wooden posts that are next to each other. He reads the two Rasengan and slams them down on the posts. The regular Rasengan makes a large hole in the post, almost snapping it in half, while the wind Rasengan goes straight through the post and shoots away past it before fizzling out of existence. Naruto and Jiraiya look at each other. "Wow, that's insane," Naruto says with slight awe to his voice. "Yeah, train that for a day straight. I'll return then," Jiraiya informs Naruto. "Where are you going?" Naruto asks the man. Research," he says and jogs away. Pervy Sage. Naruto joined his team in the hike up to the location of the preliminary round. All the teams were informed that too many genins had passed, and they needed at least half how many genins there were, so they decided upon a preliminary round. Naruto had trained with Kurama until he could use 4 tails of the Jinchuriki cloak. Kurama said that if he went any higher he would need lots of emotion and probably start to lose control of himself. Though he also mentioned to Naruto that there was a possible higher power than the Jinchuriki cloak, although he needed much more experience and peace with himself. They decided that it would have to wait. The preliminary rounds start with a matchup of a Cloud Genin and a Mist Genin. Most of the fights look boring to Naruto and he is about to leave when the red-haired kid that beat them in the second exam is called in to fight. He and another Leaf Genin that Naruto's teammates probably knew since they were encouraging him from the stands, walk up to the arena. When Naruto looks closely it seems like Gaara is quietly talking to himself. The round ends almost as quickly as it started. As soon as the proctor said to begin, the Leaf Genin was crushed and on the ground half dead. All the Genin were in shock as well as some Chunin team leaders. Naruto is surprised. He leans over to Shisui. "What the hell was that jutsu?" He asks him. "That kid is the one-tails Jinchuriki. The Ichibi gives him the power to control sand." Naruto had seen what happened. Sand shot out of Gaara's gourd and crushed the kid and instantly came back. The speed was insane. "I wonder if I can beat him?" He thought aloud. This kid was strong. His match came to a few rounds after Gaara's match. He had decided to not let too much power out so that he wouldn't hurt his opponent. Naruto Uzumaki vs Kankuro of the Sand. The exam proctor shouts. The two nin take their respective places in the arena. Kankuro smirks, obviously too confident. Naruto smiles back at him. And go! The proctor yells, bringing his hand down. Kankuro speeds towards Naruto with a kunai in hand. Naruto blocks it with a kunai of his own. Kankuro attacks relentlessly while Naruto blocked every strike. Kankuro leaps back. He brings out a puppet from behind his back and sends it to Naruto, who smashes through it with a Rasengan. You'll pay for that. Kankuro shouts and throws two kunai at Naruto. They both hit their mark and Naruto collapses. Kankuro smiles before Naruto explodes into smoke and he feels a cold blade at his neck. How'd you do that? Kankuro yells. Naruto just smiles. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto leaves as soon as he wins. He doesn't have time to watch the rest of the preliminaries. He needs to go on a mission. The last exam had been infiltrated by a criminal sought after in the bingo book. The reason he was taking care of it was because it possibly threatened his life in particular. He knew little about the Akatsuki, and only after meeting Jiraiya did he learn that they were possibly seeking Jinchuriki. Shisui advised him not to take the mission, since it would be dangerous, but Naruto thought it would be even more so if he left it to the Sand Ninja. A tip he received from some Sand Ninja told him where they might be hiding out. An area near the village in the desert. Hidden beneath the sand, tracks were found leading north from the village, so he was advised to start looking there. North he went. Nothing was noticed among the never-ending sea of sand. Naruto decides that looking closely on the ground would be better than speeding across the desert. A faint chakra signature is detected by Naruto. He feels the sand around the small area and finds a metal circle under a thin layer of sand. He dusts it off and slowly opens it. He disarms some chakra strings set around the entrance and drops in. He leaves a Raijin seal outside on the sand and hops in the hole. A ladder leads him underground for a while until the ladder ends and Naruto drops into a hallway. Naruto sneaks down the hallway, leaving his seals every few feet. Caution was at an all-time high for this mission and he took each step even more carefully than the last. Naruto sees a door just slightly ajar, letting some lamplight leak through the crack. Naruto slowly moves to the door and looks through. He sees a small study with the light on and the pen on the table, but no one there. He realizes what this means and teleports back a few feet and waits. Around 2 minutes pass and footsteps are heard echoing down the hallway. Naruto hides as he sees a snake-like man enter the light. Orochimaru, he thinks to himself. The Sannin enters the study and closes the door behind him. Naruto has enough information to leave. He turns around and sees the snake man himself looking at him with a wicked smile. Naruto wastes no time and teleports behind the man with a Rasengan and smashes it into Orochimaru, who disappears into a number of snakes. Naruto, knowing he has no chance to beat this foe, teleports outside and starts to dash back to the sand village. Orochimaru catches up to him in an instant, grabs Naruto's arm, and flings him to the ground, making a large explosion of sand come flying up from the ground. Naruto grits his teeth and stands back up. Orochimaru, he says shakily. The snake man just laughed and rushes at Naruto with a fist. Naruto throws a kunai to the side and teleports in the nick of time so as to avoid the attack. Red chakra encases Naruto as his features become fox-like. He grins and makes a giant vermilion Rasengan in his hand. Orochimaru just chuckles. Kukakuku, are you putting on a light show for me? He asks condescendingly. Naruto narrows his eyes and teleports behind Orochimaru to decimate the surprised snake man. Orochimaru gets up with a few bruises. Guess I better finish this. Kukuku. He blitzes Naruto with his snakes and then kicks Naruto to the ground. Naruto gets up once more, this time, pulling out a large scroll from an arm seal and strapping to his back. Orochimaru raises an eyebrow at this. Naruto looks up once again, this time, with the eyes of a toad. Orochimaru falters for a second after seeing the transformation and Naruto took this chance to throw a few kunai at the snake man. Alas, he jumps away in the nick of time. Naruto makes a few shadow clones and powers up a giant Rasengan in sync with his doppelgangers. They all rush at Orochimaru. The Snake Man kicks one shadow clone away and makes a mud wall to stop the other attacks. Naruto uses Headhunter Jutsu to come up behind Orochimaru and throw a punch at him. Orochimaru catches the punch and kicks Naruto to the ground. Naruto gets back up in a split second later and starts a flurry of attacks, few of which hit, the rest are caught or blocked. Naruto now knows that he cannot overpower his opponent, so he decides to try overwhelming him instead. He throws a kunai and teleports to it, landing a kick on Orochimaru, who goes in to hit Naruto but finds himself only hitting air as Naruto decimates his back with a giant Rasengan. Orochimaru sneers, "Tricky little." He is cut off as Naruto teleports above him, landing another hit. Orochimaru is powerless to stop the child as he is overwhelmed by the multiple directions he has to block from, and the kunai that is relentlessly being thrown in all directions at him. Orochimaru knows he can't keep this up for much longer and decides to retreat, for now, dissipating into snakes. Naruto falls to the ground in exhaustion and looks at the rising sun. His Toad Sage mode is wiped as Naruto eats a food pill. "Geez, I didn't think I would survive that," he says. Naruto rests for a few moments before getting back up and heading back to the Sand Village. When he arrives back at the village, Naruto is greeted by the guard. "Holy heck, what happened?" he asks him after seeing his beat-up body. "Orochimaru," Naruto replies. The guard is shocked. "I need to see the case cage," Naruto continues, "now." Naruto is brought before Lord Rasa. "What happened? I need a full report." Rasa commands. Naruto nods his head. "I searched the area as you asked, and found an entrance covered by a faint chakra signal. I went inside and found Orochimaru in his study. I'm not sure how, but he realized I was there and started to attack me. We then fought, and I managed to hold out long enough that he left." Naruto recalls. "He left?" Rasa questions. "Yes. I overwhelmed him, and he retreated, but I am very low on chakra." Naruto answers. "I see." Rasa snapped his fingers and two sand Anbu appeared next to him. "I want you to take this boy to the hospital and have him rest there overnight," Rasa tells them. "Yes, sir," they say and start executing their orders. As Naruto lays in his hospital bed, he thinks about his fight with Orochimaru. "There is no way he was overwhelmed by me," he thinks. Orochimaru must have been weakened, but how? He might be planning something. 2 days later he gets out of the hospital and goes back to training. The power he felt when he used Toad Sage mode was immense, but the exhaustion was even more so. He needed to control Sage mode. Though after training his whole life in chakra control, controlling a new one would be even harder than normal. Even so, the training begins. Quick A.N. right here, for any that were wondering. Naruto is able to gather the natural energy needed for Sage Jutsu much quicker than normal due to his connection with Kurama. Usually, someone can't go into Sage mode that fast unless they had shadow clones, which Naruto also had just in case he wasn't able to gather the energy needed in time. Though, it would make sense if he used shadow clones from Mount Myoboku during the fight since he would lose natural energy as he used Sage mode. Naruto trained for days just standing still and trying to stay in Sage mode for as long as possible. After around 2 weeks he realized that his natural energy gain only gave him around 2 hours of Sage mode with minimal movements, and once he started fighting Jiraiya in the form, it only lasted about 40 minutes. One day he was training when Kurama decided to speak up. "Hey," Kurama says. "What's up?" Naruto asks him. "I have a way that may help you use Sage mode." He says. "Really?" Naruto says, excited. "Yes. I can give you natural energy through my chakra reserves." Kurama smirks, knowing what the kid's reaction is going to be. Naruto jumps up, breaking his meditation. "Yes," he says happily and goes to get Jiraiya. He finds Jiraiya at his usual researching location. "Hey, pervy sage," he yells, alerting the woman of the bathhouse to Jiraiya's researching spot. A few minutes later Jiraiya comes out to greet Naruto with a red face full of slap marks. "Can't you tell I'm working?" he says, annoyed. "We need to fight," Naruto says. Jiraiya realizes his chance for revenge and starts to battle Naruto. "Wait, not in the middle of the street," Naruto says. "Oh yeah." Jiraiya chuckles and rubs the back of his head. The two relocate and resume their fight. Jiraiya gets into his stance and goes into Sage mode. He notices Naruto doesn't have his scroll. "Are you gonna fight with no Sage mode?" Naruto closes his eyes for a moment and then reopens them. When he does, they become toad-like. Jiraiya's jaw drops. "This kid," he says smirking. Naruto takes the first move with a thrown kunai. Jiraiya recognizes this as flying Rasengan and goes to catch the kunai and fling it away. As he does, he sees that there is no seal on it. His eyes widen and quickly move to where Naruto was standing to see that he is already gone. Suddenly he feels chakra behind him and catches a flying knee to the face. Naruto explodes into smoke and throws a kick at him from the side. Jiraiya dodges this and throws a kunai at the other clone who explodes. Naruto keeps up this tactic of using shadow clones for various blows, tiring Jiraiya. Soon he rushes at him from up front with blazing speeds. As he runs he charges a large Rasengan. Jiraiya sees this and charges one of his own. They clash and it is clear who the victor is. Naruto pushes back Jiraiya and they start fighting. They throw punches and kicks for a bit before separating. Naruto makes around 100 shadow ones and prepares to win the battle. Naruto and his clones rush at Jiraiya, all with giant Rasengans in hand. Jiraiya holds his hands up. "Whoa there kiddo, you trying to kill your master here?" Naruto stopped. "Sorry, I went overboard for just a spar." His clones disappear. "By the way, when I fought Orochimaru, he seemed weaker than he should be." Naruto says, "Is there a reason you might know why that is?" The only reason I could think of is that he transformed into someone. My spies have discovered evidence that suggests he can use someone's body after he kills them." Jiraiya concludes. "I see. That could spell an issue in the near future," Naruto says thoughtfully. "Also, don't forget to go to the final exams tomorrow, your teammates are counting on you." He flashes a grin. "Don't remind me. I hate playing with these children." Naruto scowls, though, there is that red-haired kid. He says, "Oh yeah, I think you're actually gonna be matched up against him. And don't forget, you're the young one here, so make sure to show those brats who's boss." Jiraiya says encouragingly, "Thanks for the reminder, but I already planned on doing that." Naruto smirks. The next day at the tournament arena, the crowd is buzzing. Naruto doesn't pay attention to most of the fights, they all look like child's play to him. He only looks a bit at his teammates' battles. Heiaso wins his first fight, not with much grace or ease though, and he probably broke a few fingers punching that rock boy from the stone village. Hina doesn't do as well. She doesn't go down without a fight though. The girl she fought held a large fan and was one of the people who finished before them in the second round. After a few more nonsensical matches that couldn't interest Naruto any less, his name was called. Naruto Uzumaki vs Gaara of the Sand. The boisterous announcer calls out. Naruto smiles and shunshins to the middle of the arena. Gaara does the same. "Begin!" The announcer calls out and leaps away. The air is so thick with tension, you couldn't cut it with a knife. The crowd watches silently and intently. Naruto smirks and in less than a second, hits Gaara in the face, breaking through his sand, and throwing him into the opposite wall. Not letting this chance dissolve, he throws hordes of shadow clones at Gaara relentlessly. Gaara gets annoyed and roars. His sand sweeps through the clones, picking them off as soon as they are made. Naruto makes double Rasengans and speeds towards Gaara, who, smirking, makes a sand wall. What he didn't notice is the thousands of Rasengan seals Naruto's clones made around the arena during the confusion. Naruto appears right behind Gaara and smashes the Rasengans into his back, only making him angrier. Gaara slowly begins to transform into Shukaku. Naruto can't help but smile as he goes into Toad Sage mode. Many Chunin and the Hokage that are watching have their jaws dropped. Someone that young being able to use Sage mode was an amazing feat. Naruto starts pummeling Gaara with great speed, only pushing the transformation further. Soon there is a large Shukaku in the middle of the arena. Many civilians and spectators from other villages flee in terror. Naruto, once again, can only grin at the challenge. He makes 100 clones that all started teleporting everywhere and smashing Rasengans into the Ichibi. Naruto then performs the summoning jutsu and a giant explosion of smoke plumes over the stadium. When it clears, a giant toad stands beneath Naruto. "Hey, Gamabunta," he says, looking down. Across the arena, Naruto spots a drowsy Gaara slowly falling asleep. "Huh?" Naruto thinks. Gaara slumps over and suddenly the giant beast is full of energy. "Yes, I'm finally free," He shouts in clear glee. Now, for you. He turns to face Naruto. Wind style. Air bullets. He shouts and a giant bullet of rapid air emerges from his mouth directly at Naruto and Gamabunta. The giant toad leaps up high in the air to dodge the large attack. To Naruto's surprise, another bullet rocks the wind as it hits the toad full on this time. Crap, I probably can't take many of these shots. Gamabunta says urgently. What should we do? Naruto says to himself. Gamabunta shoots a water bullet at the next oncoming wind bullet. Naruto looks back at Gaara. Maybe if I wake him up, it will undo the transformation. He thinks. Okay, Gamabunta, I have a plan. You need to get up close and hold him down so that I can wake Gaara up. Naruto shouts to the toad over the wind. Huh, but a toad doesn't have the fangs or claws needed to do that. Gamabunta says, we would need a transformation jutsu. But with that said, I'm not particularly good at those. He admits. Don't worry, I got it, Naruto says to him. Remember, we'll need something with fangs and claws. Gamabunta shouts. Naruto thinks for a sec before shouting, transformation jutsu. Another large plume of smoke is raised on the battlefield, and as it clears a new beast is shown. The nine-tailed fox. Shukaku doesn't hesitate to send more wind at the fox, but this time, Gamabunta is on the offensive. Here goes nothing. He yells and tackles the Ichibi. Shukaku tries to move but it's to no avail. The fox's grip is too strong for him. Naruto jumps up off the fox's head and punches the red-haired boy straight in the face, waking him up. Gaara looks dazed for a few moments before collecting himself and attacking once more. The now untransformed Gamabunta grabs Naruto and leaps back. Naruto smirks, looks like that wasn't enough. He says and makes a Rasengan. Naruto gathers Kurama's chakra in him as well, and for a second he flashes gold before jumping straight towards Gaara and smashing the Rasengan right into his face. Gaara is knocked out and the Ichibi breaks apart into large masses of sand. The mostly dissolved crowd all cheer for Naruto. The announcer comes down into the arena and holds Naruto's hand up. Winner. Naruto Uzumaki, he shouts. After the match, he is greeted by his team. Nice job Naruto. Shisui says clapping. Yeah, man, how'd you get so strong? Hayaso says, high-fiving Naruto. Jiraiya comes into view waving. Nice battle Naruto. He calls out. Naruto sees someone behind him. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto waves. Kakashi gives him an eye smile. You came to see the Chunin exams? Naruto asks, walking up to him. Yep, Kakashi says and pats his head. A lot of people from the Leaf Village came as well. Kakashi tells him, I think I saw Itachi with his family actually. He remembers. Cool, I want to go ask him if he saw my fight. He's always underestimating me, so this is my chance to prove that I'm strong. Naruto pumps his fist in the air. Kakashi's sweat drops. I'm pretty sure he knows you're strong though. He says, but to no avail, as Naruto had already left. Naruto soon spotted the boy he was looking for and threw a kunai at him. The kunai in question was caught, allowing Naruto to appear right next to the boy. Hey, Itachi, he says. Hello, Itachi says in his calm voice. Did you see my fight? I think it's time I step up to the front of the squad on Anbu missions. Naruto laughs. Itachi cracks a smile. I saw your fight, but you need to train for at least a few more years before you can take a position ahead of Kakashi and me. He says. Naruto pouts jokingly. A man that Naruto assumes to be Itachi's father stands up. That was an amazing fight, young boy. You will become a great ninja one day. Thank you for being on my son's squad. He holds his hand out. Thank you, Naruto smiles and shakes his hand. Okay well, I'll be going back to my teammates now. See y'all later Itachi, Naruto says as he disappears. Makoto, bring Sayuri away to get some ice cream, Fugaku says. Yes, dear, she responds and takes the young girl away. Itachi, Fugaku says in a low voice, I need info on that boy, he might interfere with the clan's plans if he is an Anbu member. He says. Itachi nods. That jutsu is something called the Flying Raijin. It utilizes seals to teleport to user instantly, and much quicker than Shun Shining, Itachi says. It was formerly used solely by the 4th Hokage. Fugaku nods. I see. He is still but a child so I don't believe old Hiruzen will send him out to stop the coup. Naruto and his team were headed to a popular local restaurant to celebrate completing the exams. Kakashi accompanies them. At the restaurant, while the others are in their respective bathrooms washing their hands, Kakashi starts speaking to Naruto in a low voice. We are being summoned along with Itachi by Danzo, once we all return to the Leaf Village. Naruto nods. Be careful, Kakashi continues, Danzo is a scheming man. Naruto and his team took off through the lands once again, this time, going back to their home village. The short trip only took 2 days and 1 night, but for Naruto, it felt like a few seconds. All he could think about is why Danzo wanted his Anbu team. Kakashi had told him some rather unsightly things about the man, which made Naruto wary of him ever since the first time he was discussed. Once they arrive, a feeling Naruto wasn't very familiar with starts creeping up within him. Dread. Something tells him that what was soon in store for him wasn't good. Naruto meets up with his squad mates outside Danzo's office. They all assume straight positions. The other two walk in, and with a gulp, Naruto follows. They all bow before Danzo and get down on one knee. Thank you for heeding my call. He starts. What I am about to tell you is an S-rank village secret at the moment, so please act as you should with this information. The trio nod once quickly in unison. The Uchiha clan is planning a coup d'état, he says. Naruto glances towards Itachi, but he stays calm. I need you to take them all out. He finishes. Naruto's eyes widen and his sweat slowly drips down. Kakashi narrows his eyes but keeps his cool. Itachi raises his head. I have but one request. Danzo looks at him. I wish for my sister to be spared, Itachi says. Danzo thinks for a moment before complying. Alright, that is fine with me. Please execute your orders tonight. Kakashi looks up. I refuse to do this. Leave Naruto out of this as well. He's just a kid, he says. Naruto silently thanks his sensei. Kakashi, I'll allow you to leave, but Naruto will stay, Danzo says fiercely. Kakashi lowers his head. Naruto's stomach drops. Itachi winces. Now go, Danzo commands. Naruto spends the day in his apartment trying to mentally prepare himself, but deep down, he knows there is no way to prepare for what's to come. Later that day Naruto gets his Anbu gear on and leaves his apartment. His stomach feels like it's going to drop to his feet. Naruto meets up with Itachi outside the gates. They nod to each other and walk into the compound. A guard walks up to them but he is swiftly cut open by Itachi. Naruto, I'm sorry about all of this. Itachi says to him, you don't have to do this. I will take care of all the Uchihas. Itachi says. Naruto's stomach rises back up. Really? Naruto asks. Yes, only tell Danzo that you helped. Itachi gives him a smile behind his Anbu mask. Wait here. Naruto waits outside the compound for Itachi to finish. Tears slowly spill out of his eyes as he realizes he has lost track of how many Uchihas have been killed. He has to remind himself that it was all for the good of the village and that if this wasn't done, there would be a full-blown war inside the Leaf Village. As he is waiting he sees a girl about his age running into the compound. His eyes widen. Sayuri. She notices the young Anbu as she runs in but pays no mind to him. As she walks through the streets, she finds some dead bodies littered throughout the streets. Sayuri thinks of something suddenly. Her parents. She runs towards her house as tears start to leak from her eyes. Did that Anbu do this? She thinks. She stumbles into her house and runs to her parents' room. Laying there are her parents' bodies. She spots a figure in the room across from her. Itachi. She cries out, what happened to mom and dad? She says in tears. They're dead. Because I killed them, he says darkly. She is shocked. Huh? What do you mean? He walks out into the street. Sayuri dashes after him as tears fall from her eyes. Why did you kill our clan? She cries. Itachi laughs. To test my power, of course. He says and looks menacingly at Sayuri. How could you do this, brother? I mean, this is so unlike you. She cries. Itachi only grins. Didn't I tell you already? This was all to test out my new power. These eyes I have attained. He says. I won't let you get away with this. I'll kill you. She yells. Itachi chuckles evilly. You are much too weak. But you have the potential to become my opponent. You are someone who could be able to use the Mangekyo Sharingan just like me. However, on one condition. He looks directly at her. You must kill the person closest to you. A shadow falls over his eyes, just like I did. That was. You're doing? Bridge brother. You killed Izumi? She says in shock. That's right. And because of that, I obtained these eyes. He smirks. If you obtain these eyes, you will become the third person including myself to utilize the Mangekyo Sharingan. However, presently, you are not even worth killing. Hate me, let it grow, and one day when you have the same eyes that I do. His eyes form into a shuriken-like shape, come and stand before me. He meets eyes with Sayuri and she collapses into a genjutsu. Naruto grimaces. Why would he say that to his sister? He turns to walk away. Hey, you. Sayuri calls out to him in pure anger. She got back up from the instant almost torturing genjutsu. Did you help him? She says, gritting her teeth. Naruto halts for a second and walks back to her. She drips with sweat as she wonders what kind of powerful person works with her brother. Naruto walks up to the frozen girl and pats her shoulder. I'm sorry, it was for the good of the village. He says and vanishes. Sayuri falls down on her knees. Her clan is dead and the realization sinks in as the adrenaline dissipates. Naruto lays down once again as he tells himself over and over that it was for the good of the village. He tells himself that until he falls asleep. The next day Naruto goes to meet up with Kakashi at Ichiraku Ramen. When Kakashi spots Naruto he walks over and gives him a hug. Are you okay? He asks. Naruto smiles at him. Yeah, Itachi did it all for me. Naruto looks down. Thank God, I don't know what Danzo was thinking. Kakashi lets out a breath of relief. I'm really sorry about this Naruto, I was the one who recommended you should go into the Anbu. He scratches the back of his head. It's okay, I like the Anbu, but Itachi was acting really weird. Naruto says, recalling the incident. Kakashi tilts his head. Well, his little sister came by and saw him kill their parents. But what he did next was weird. He cast a genjutsu on her, which I can only assume was some kind of mental torture, and then said how it was all so he could test his power or something, Naruto says in a confused tone. I can't be sure, but I do know that he is leaving the village to investigate and infiltrate a mysterious group. Kakashi tells Naruto. I see. I feel bad for that girl though, can't imagine what she's going through. Naruto says in the middle of drinking the broth. The two leave to go on a walk to pay their respects at the Uchiha grave. By the way, Naruto, Kakashi starts, I'm going to be leaving the Anbu at the request of Lord Third. He says. Naruto looks down. Okay, I guess this means the squad is disbanded, huh? Naruto says. Yeah, I'm gonna be leading a Chunin now. Good luck. Naruto looks up at his sensei and gives him a thumbs up. Thanks, Naruto. Kakashi gives him an eye smile. They reach the grave to see an Uchiha already there. Hey, Shisui-sensei, Naruto says. Hey, Naruto, are you here to pay your respects as well? Shisui asks. Yeah, Kakashi answers. Naruto and Kakashi sit down next to him. Naruto thinks about the night before with sadness. While it was for the good of the village, he wished it had not come to that extreme. Kakashi headed towards Ichiraku Ramen after learning that he would be a potential team leader once again, though he expected his new team to fail like always. He found Naruto eating ramen like always and sat down next to him. Did Gramps assign you a new team? Naruto asks him without looking up from his ramen. Yeah, but you know I'm probably gonna fail them, Kakashi says flatly. Ah, disappointing, Naruto says. What about you? Kakashi asks, how have your missions been going? Naruto pauses, fine, as usual. I miss our old squad. These newbies are too weak. He says distastefully. Kakashi chuckles. Bet they were surprised when a 12-year-old was stronger than them. He smiles. Who wouldn't be? Naruto asks jokingly. Congrats on becoming a captain, by the way. Kakashi congratulates him. Thanks, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto grins. Also, here's some news. Naruto lowers his voice. Word is the Sand Village is acting quite hostile towards us. The old man wants to hopefully repair our relationship at the next Chunin exams. Naruto says. Wow, that's weird. The Leaf and Sand have always had a good relationship. What the heck is that Rasa doing? Kakashi says, slightly shocked. I don't know. In the time that I spoke to him, he seemed well put together. Maybe something happened. Naruto recalls. Yeah, maybe. Kakashi says thoughtfully, thanks for keeping me updated. Kakashi says gratefully. No problem. Naruto grins and keeps eating. When they both finish eating, Naruto walks with Kakashi to the academy. Been a while since I've seen this place, Naruto says. You were only in the academy for a few months though. Kakashi's sweat drops. Oh yeah, I forgot, Naruto laughs, "It was all thanks to my sensei." Naruto smiles at Kakashi. "You could say that, though, I haven't met anyone else who has more motivation and willpower than you." Kakashi ruffles the blonde's hair. Once they reach the academy, Naruto waves goodbye to Kakashi, who leaves to go get a synopsis of the students he will potentially be mentoring, while Naruto leaves to go back to Anbu headquarters. Naruto debriefs his squad on the new mission and they all head out. It was nothing more than a simple surveillance mission. Quickly they arrive at their destination, the Sound Village. They camouflage themselves into the surroundings and watch. Hours pass and nothing happens. Then, the Sans cage, Rasa walks into the village. People pass by and nod and wave to him. The heck? Naruto thinks and gets closer. As he does, Rasa's eyes dart up to his exact location, but he has already vanished. It was standard practice in the Anbu to immediately leave after being found in a surveillance mission, for the one being watched would be on guard, and there would be a fat chance of the surveillance team finding anything. As Naruto is leaving, he hears a passerby say something. "Lord Orochima," he hears before the speaker is silenced by someone near him. Naruto sighs. "I'll think about that later." He thinks. Naruto signals his team to leave and they follow him. Once they make it to a point decently far away from the village, Naruto sits them down. "What is it, Captain?" Dai asks. "I was spotted by Rasa who seemed to be visiting the village. And I heard a villager mention Orochimaru and address him as Lord." Naruto tells. Silence befalls the four Anbu. "I see. I also heard multiple villagers in their homes mention him as well." Hisashi comments. "Well, we should leave immediately to inform Lord Third of this." He calmly states. "Yes, let's go," Naruto says. The four instantly disperse and speed through the forest along the trees. After a few minutes, Naruto sensed chakra behind him. Eighth formation. Naruto calls out. His squad mates nod and speed up on ahead, while Naruto stops running. He sees a sound ninja following them. "Who are you and why were you in our village?" he calls out. Naruto steps forward into the light of day, revealing his mask to the ninja in the process. "Leaf Anbu?" he asks. Naruto nods and heads off after his team. He knew the sound wasn't going to attack a leaf ninja. Naruto makes it back to the leaf village with his team and immediately goes to the Hokage's office with them in tow. They walk in and bow. "At ease. State your information," Hiruzen says. Naruto stands up. The cage came to the village and seemed welcome, and multiple villagers were heard talking of Orochimaru, and they addressed him as Lord. Naruto informs Hiruzen. Hiruzen ponders this for a few seconds before speaking. "I will hold a council meeting to discuss this. You will come, Naruto," he says. "Yes, sir." Naruto bows and his Anbu team leaves. Naruto relaxes. "What do you think is happening, Gramps?" Naruto asks, sitting down on one of the empty orange cushioned chairs. "I don't know exactly, but I can tell that there is a best case scenario and a worst case." He muses. "And what are those?" Naruto asks. "Best case is that Orochimaru has lots of followers in that village, and the worst case." He pauses. "Is Orochimaru the leader of the Sound Village?" he says gravely. "No way. That's too unbelievable." Naruto laughs. "Yes, I do not believe the latter is the case." Hiruzen states. "Well, good luck, old man." Naruto waves and gets up to leave. "Good job on obtaining this information, Naruto," Hiruzen says. Naruto smiles at him and closes the door. "Thanks." The next day, Kakashi heads back to the academy for him to be officially assigned to his genin team, after waiting past his alarm for about 30 minutes. When he arrives, he walks in the door and sees two girls left in the now mostly empty classroom. "Hello, I am your Chunin sensei," Kakashi says in a bored tone. "Why are you so late?" Sakura asks loudly. "I saw a black cat and had to take the long way." He lies. "Meet me on the rooftop," he says and shines up to the rooftop, and sits down to start waiting for them. He spots a flash of yellow coming towards him. Naruto stops right next to him. "Yo, Kakashi-sensei." He grins. "What are you doing on the academy rooftop?" Naruto asks him. "Waiting for my genin team to get up here," he says flatly. "You don't gotta sound so down about it," Naruto laughs. "Oh look, there they are," he points to rising figures from the stairs. "Well, gotta go then, have fun." Naruto waves and walks over to the edge of the building. Kakashi rolls his eyes at the comment. Sayuri and Sakura make small talk about their sensei as they walk up the stairs. They eventually make it to the top, to see a blonde boy about their age getting ready to jump off the building. "Oh my god," Sakura yelps and points to the boy. "Don't worry about it, he's just leaving," says Kakashi, not sure what she is surprised about. Sayuri on the other hand is shocked. Isn't that the same mask that the Anbu who was there at the night of her clan's murder had? Naruto turns to look at the girls when he sees Sayuri. He stops and stares. He remembers that night when he was 7. "Hey, you," Sayuri says to Naruto. He freezes. "Aren't you the person that was with my brother?" she asks dangerously. Kakashi freezes alongside Naruto. Sayuri notices this. "Well?" she asks demandingly. Sakura looks between them anxiously. Naruto is unsure of what to do, so he just decides to leave and get some ramen. He teleports to the Rasengan seal he placed there and leaves the girl hanging. Sayuri looks down. "Well, if you guys could sit down," Kakashi says, wanting to pretend that didn't happen. The two sit down. Sayuri is deep in thought but decides to look for that boy later. "Well, I thought we could all get to know each other." Kakashi claps his hands. "List your name, your likes, dislikes, and dreams for the future." He smiles. "Why don't you go first, to show us how to do it?" Sakura suggests, and Sayuri nods in agreement. "Okay, well, my name is Kakashi Hitaki, I like a few things. I dislike others, and my dream." He smiles as if he was done. All we learned was his name. Sakura thinks. "You go first, Pinky," he says. Sakura gets a tick mark on her forehead. "My name is Sakura Haruno. I like training and my friends. And I dislike being looked down on. My dream is to become a Chunin, and prove that I can be strong," she says. Kakashi smiles. Looks like Pinky has ambition and motivation. "You next, Emo." Sayuri brushes off the light insult. "My name is Sayuri Uchiha. I don't like many things, and I dislike lots of things. My dream is less of a dream because I will make it a reality. I will kill a certain someone and restore my clan," she says darkly. "Alright, now that we've introduced ourselves, I'll see you all tomorrow for the test," he says. "Test? Didn't we just take the graduation exam?" Sakura asks. "Yes, but that was only to test if you were ready to be a genin. This is to test if I think you are ready to be on my team," Kakashi says. "Be there at 10 in the morning tomorrow, oh and don't eat breakfast. If you do, you'll throw up." Sayuri looks around for Ichiraku ramen. She wanted to find that boy. "Hey, Kakashi-sensei," Sayuri says. "Yes?" Kakashi looks up at the Uchiha. "Where can I find that boy?" she asks. Kakashi thinks. He doesn't know if it's the best option, but he thinks it would be best for Naruto if he spoke to her. "You'll find him at Ichiraku Ramen. It's a ramen shop over there." Kakashi points at a street a few blocks away. "Thanks," Sayuri says and leaves. She had many questions for him. After a little longer, she spots the ramen shop in question. Sayuri walks over to the shop and spots the same blonde kid from before. She sits down next to him. "Hey," she says. Naruto sets down his bowl. "I can't leave again. I gotta talk to her," he tells himself. Hey," he says. "It was you, wasn't it? It was you who killed my clan alongside my brother." She grits her teeth. "And you had the audacity to say it was for the good of the village." Naruto's eyes widen. "No," he says. She looks at him. "I have never killed, nor wanted to kill, an Uchiha," he says firmly. "Then why did you stand by and do nothing? Do nothing while my family, my clan, was killed? How could you say it was for the good of the village? You may not have drawn any blood, but you may as well have," she yells, full of emotion. Naruto can only look down in shame. He trails off. "I couldn't have done anything, I didn't do anything, and, I know I can't apologize, but it's not like I had a choice. Neither did Ida," he pauses. "I can't tell you anything. It's extremely confidential, and especially in your case," he says grimly. "What do you mean?" she asks painfully. "Do you even know what it's like? To have no one? To have nothing?" she asks in anger. Naruto nods. "I, too, know that pain," he admits. "I was beaten down, and I had no friends, no parents, no family. But I broke past my restrictions." He looks up. "I trained, met my friends, my teachers. And they filled the holes that I had when I was younger," he says. "I didn't want a single person to die that day, and I'm afraid it would have happened if I was there or otherwise." Naruto looks at Sayuri. She gets up. "I'm sorry," she says. You have endured similar pain that I have. You couldn't have done anything against my brother either. I'm not sure what about my clan's murder you and the village are keeping from me, but I don't care. I will kill Itachi and restore my clan, I swear it. Sayuri declares to Naruto. He smiles at her. Good luck. He tells her and pays for his meal. The two walk away. Yo, Kakashi-sensei, Naruto waves. Hey, Naruto, Kakashi says. Naruto sits beside Kakashi at the ramen stand. By the way, shouldn't you be going to that bell test thing with your new team instead of eating breakfast? Naruto asks. Well, I had to help an old lady with her bags, so I'm a bit late getting breakfast, Kakashi says. Wow, that's around the 107th time you've been late for helping an old lady. Naruto exclaims in mock surprise. You must be quite famous among the old ladies of the village. Kakashi cringes, for not only using the same excuse so many times but also because of how many times he has trained Naruto and been late. That many, huh? He smiles sadly, wondering how many times his old friend would have told that excuse had he not died. The two finish up their last bowls. Somehow, even though Naruto got to eat chirakus after Kakashi, he still ate double the amount as him. After all these years, I still don't know where you put all that ramen, Kakashi says. Naruto laughs. Well, I'm over an hour late, so I better get going. Kakashi smiles and leaves. Naruto waves with a smile, before realizing that Kakashi left him the check. Kakashi arrives on the training ground, to see his two genins laying on the ground, grumbling about how late he is. Good morning, class. He waves. You're late. Sakura and Sayuri yell. Ah, well you see, Sakura cuts him off. Just get to the test. We don't want to hear your excuses. Kakashi nods and sets down an alarm. I've set this alarm to go off at noon. I have here one small bell. Your challenge is to steal this bell from me before the timer sounds. Anyone who fails doesn't get any lunch. Instead, you will be tied to that log. He gestures to 3 logs, so I can eat your lunch in front of you. So that's why you wanted us to go without breakfast. Sakura groans. All you need is just one bell. But since there aren't enough to go around, one of you is definitely headed for the log. And whoever that is will be the first of you to fail. One of you is on your way back to school. You may, if you choose, use shuriken. Attack as though you mean to kill or you'll never stand a chance. Sayuri nods and gets into a fighting stance. Sakura looks shocked but does the same. Go, he says, and they disperse instantly. Sayuri sits in the brush and thinks of a plan. Sakura leaps out into the open and casts a genjutsu on Kakashi, but it doesn't work. She pulls out a kunai and dashes towards him, utilizing taijutsu, but he evades all of it without looking up from his book. Sakura grits her teeth. You better take me seriously. She yells. Water style. Liquid bullet. She creates multiple water bullets, each about a meter long. Kakashi, once again, dodges them with ease. Sakura help. Sayuri cries out from the forest. Kunai and blood cover her body. Shock fills Sakura until release. Sakura says, and the genjutsu is dispersed. Impressive. Kakashi murmurs. Take this. Earth style. Stone shuriken. She rips 2 large shurikens from the ground, and throws them at Kakashi, forcing him to dodge for a few seconds, before she lunges at him and he has to block with a kunai of his own. Kakashi begins his counterattack, making a few shadow clones. He appears behind her, immediately forcing her on the defensive. Sakura retreats into the forest. Kakashi sits down and starts reading, waiting for her or Sayuri to come out. Sakura comes out once more, only to see a bell laying on the ground. Ha, I must have got him to drop the bell during our battle. She grins. Sakura. Sayuri thinks. Sakura reaches to pick up the bell but is hoisted up by a rope that fell from the tree above. Kakashi walks out and picks up the bell. To be caught in such an obvious trap was stupid. Kakashi tosses the bell in his hand. Sakura's head hangs in shame. Kakashi starts lecturing Sakura. This is my chance. Sayuri thinks and leaps from the trees, flinging a dozen shuriken at Kakashi. They all hit their mark and blood spurts from the Chunin until there's a poof of smoke, and all the shuriken are embedded in a log. He must have deliberately acted like he was off guard. And I fell for it like an amateur. Sayuri exclaims. Sakura takes this chance to escape her trap, and she cuts the rope with a kunai and leaps away. Speeding through the trees, she leaps at Kakashi. Suddenly he was behind her. He kicks her to the ground and leaves to go fight Sayuri. I'm not like her, I'm strong, Sayuri proclaims, watching her teammates' downfall. Save your boasts until you've actually got the bell. Sayuri, Kakashi says from behind her. The strength of the Uchiha clan. The most elite family in Konoha. I'm looking forward to it. The two get in a fighting stance. Sayuri is the first to strike, throwing a few shurikens at the Chunin. A frontal assault is useless, Kakashi says and throws a kunai at Sayuri. It goes right through a rope. A trap? Kakashi thinks and quickly leaps out of the way, avoiding over a dozen throwing knives. Just as Kakashi avoids the trap, Sayuri goes in with a kick, which is promptly blocked by Kakashi, who grabs Sayuri's leg. Sayuri twists around and throws a punch at Kakashi's face. The blow is blocked but is following up quickly by a kick with her free leg. Kakashi blocks this with his other hand. With his hands occupied, Sayuri reaches down for the bell, only to barely miss, for Kakashi jumped backward. This one's not bad. I can't even read Make Out Paradise while we're fighting. Kakashi thinks. I admit it, you're not like her. Kakashi says. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Sayuri yells. What? Kakashi exclaims. That skill is beyond the capacity of any novice. Her chakra shouldn't have developed enough yet to perform it. He thinks as a large fireball comes rolling towards him. The smoke clears and he's gone. Where'd he go? Sayuri thinks. Behind me. Above? Below. She hears. Earth style. Headhunter jutsu. Arms reach out at her from under the ground, and she is pulled downwards. Crap, Sayuri says. Kakashi holds up a peace sign and walks off. Sakura gets up. Where's Kakashi-sensei? She looks around. After a minute or two, she walks out of the forest, to see Sayuri stuck in the ground. Sayuri? She exclaims. Yeah, it's me. Help me up, she says, annoyed. Sakura nods and helps her out of the ground. Time's running out. It's almost noon. I'm off. Sayuri says. Do you think you can really get a bell? Sakura asks. I got close enough to touch them. This time I'll take them. Sayuri says. What? Wow. Sakura exclaims. Maybe, if we both go at him, one of us can get the. Sakura falters at the icy look Sayuri gives her. Only I can kill him. Sayuri mutters. Alone. She starts to walk off. A loud ringing sound is heard over the training ground. Oh, crap, I should have saved my breath. Sayuri says. 10 minutes later. Sakura is tied up and Sayuri gets to eat her food since she did the best out of the two, and Sakura got caught in a trap. I have an announcement about this exercise, Kakashi says. Neither of you need to worry about being sent back to the academy anymore. Sakura puts her hands up. This rocks. So both of us, she exclaims, are hopeless. Kakashi finishes. More schooling would be pointless. None of you will ever be shinobi. Kakashi says darkly. What do you mean? Sakura yells in surprise. Okay, so maybe none of us got our hand on your bell, but why should we quit over that? Sakura asks. Sayuri looks down. Because neither of you has what it takes. Kakashi exclaims. Are you trying to make fun of shinobi with your behavior? Well, are you? Did you ever stop to wonder for a second why you were divided into teams? Kakashi asks. Huh? Sakura looks confused. Sayuri looks even farther down. Obviously not, so you missed the entire point to the exercise. Kakashi says darkly. It had a point? Sakura asks. Of course, and that point determines whether or not you would succeed. Kakashi nods. But, you haven't explained what it is. Sakura says. Kakashi shakes his head in disappointment. I don't believe this, he mutters. It's teamwork. He shoots them both a look. Sayuri and Sakura look surprised. If both of you were to come at me together, you might have been able to take the bells. He explains. But, wait a minute. If we were expected to function as a team, why did you only have one bell? If we'd worked together, one of us would have still had to go without lunch. You're preaching teamwork, but you played us against each other. Sakura accuses. Of course. This task was designed to cause dissension in your ranks. Kakashi says simply. The situation was set up to reveal which of you would set aside your individual interests and propose to the others that you work together for the good of all. He says. Instead of which, you, Sakura jumped straight in to prove your strength and only resorted to asking Sayuri for help when there was no other choice. Not to mention Sayuri, who had already decided that Sakura just got in her way and that she was better off playing solo, ignored Sakura when she finally asked her to work together. Kakashi accuses, "You're a team. Learn to act as one." Yes, it's necessary for a ninja to have individual skills, but what's even more important now is teamwork. Making a play as an individual is bad for the team and exposes your comrades to unnecessary danger. You might as well kill them yourself. Kakashi explains, here's an example. Kakashi says and grabs Sayuri and puts a kunai to her neck. Sakura, kill yourself or Sayuri dies. He yells. Sakura yelps. Kakashi lets Sayuri go. The day could come when one of you may be taken hostage, and you're forced to make such a choice. When you are on a mission, your lives will always be on the line. Kakashi informs and walks towards a small stone on the ground. Look at this stone. Names of village heroes are carved in this stone. He says grimly. Then one day, I'll be on there. Sakura proclaims. Kakashi clears his throat. But the ones listed here aren't just any heroes. Kakashi says. Sakura and Sayuri look confused. They are all dead, killed in action. Kakashi says. Sakura's eyes widen and she looks down. This is a memorial stone. It includes the names of my best friends. Kakashi says. Sakura stares, and Sayuri just looks darkly at the stone. Kakashi turns around. I'm giving you guys one last chance. One that will be far more difficult than our little game with the bells. If you're prepared to continue, you may eat your bento box. Don't share any with Sakura though. She goes hungry. He states and looks Sayuri directly in the eyes. If you feed her, you both fail right here. My word is law, do you understand? He says darkly and disappears. Don't worry Sayuri, I can go without lunch. Sakura says and gives her a thumbs up. Her stomach proceeds to loudly grumble. She looks down. Here, Sayuri says, and hands Sakura her lunch. But Sayuri, Kakashi-sensei told us, Sakura is cut off. I'm not worried. He's probably miles away by now, and we'll both need our strength if we're going to work together on the next test. Sayuri states and pushes the bento in Sakura's face. You're no good as a teammate if you're just going to be a liability. Sakura grins. Alright, let's do this. She proclaims and holds out a fist to Sayuri, which she reluctantly bumps. A giant poof of smoke appears in front of them. Kakashi speeds towards them. The two girls reel back in shock. He stops and winks. Pass. We pass? But why? Sakura says in shock. You two have just taken a giant step forward. Up until now, both of you have only just listened unquestioningly to what I say. Kakashi says. Sakura looks confused. A true shinobi seeks the hidden meanings within the hidden meanings. In the ninja world, those who violate the rules and fail to follow orders are scum. He says. However, those who do not care for and support their fellow shinobi are worse than scum. Kakashi proclaims. Oh. Sakura says and pumps her fist up in the air. The exercise is now concluded. You all pass. That's all for today Team 7. Your duties will commence tomorrow. He says with a thumbs up. Yes, Sakura exclaims. Sayuri adds. Let's go home, Kakashi says and walks away with Sayuri. Wait, I'm still here, Sakura says and cuts her ropes with a kunai, and runs after the rest of Team 7. Naruto rests on a tree branch with a book covering his face. An Anbu Black Ops shinobi appears in front of him. Fox, follow me, he says quietly. Naruto quickly places his Anbu mask over his face and does as asked. What is it, monkey? Naruto whispers while the two speed off towards Hokage's office. As you know, your previous team, Team RO, has been defunct since the previous captain and one member left the Anbu. Monkey says. Naruto nods. The Hokage has decided on the next captain, so the team can resume missions and you are to be in attendance for the promotion. This also means your old squad is dissolved since you are no longer a member. He finishes. Understood, Naruto says and the rest of the travel is made in silence. When he arrives, Monkey disappears and Naruto is left with the rest of Team RO. Sarutobi nods and begins to speak. Please remove your masks, he says, and instantly, all the members' masks are off. Naruto, Yoji, Ko, Tenzo, Yugo. He begins slowly. I know you have all been away from Team RO for a long time, but the Anbu squad will resume active duty as soon as you all leave this room. I have decided to elect a new Anbu captain of Team RO, who I believe fit to replace and renew the position. He pauses as if to add dramatic effect. Tenzo, please step forward. Tenzo's eyes widen for a half-second before he nods and steps forwards toward the third Hokage. Sarutobi hands him a white cloak, to symbolize his status as squad leader, and Yamato falls back into line after pulling it on. The rest of the team instantly throws on their own black cloaks and masks, getting ready for a mission. Your next assignment is to infiltrate a facility in which Orochimaru is believed to reside in. Due to evidence uncovered by Fox, it is sensible to assume that he is planning something to do with the Sand Village. Find out what it is, and report back. Make sure you are not discovered. That is all. Once Sarutobi says the dismissive words, the reform team disappears at once. Tenzo finds the mission details hidden in his cloak and informs the rest of the team. They all follow his lead and speed away in standard formation. After around 2 days of traveling, they arrive near the Land of River's border with the Land of Wind. A quick-release jutsu reveals a concealed entrance to what seems to be an underground facility. The team quickly enters and hides within the walls using various genjutsu and earth-style techniques. Naruto leaves hidden Rasengan seals around the walls and floor if needed. As they make their way forwards in the hideout, the team sees a light approaching ahead. They all conceal themselves and wait. The light is revealed to be a white-haired teenager with round glasses stride. He strides through the halls with a small candle, illuminating his surroundings. The team follows closely behind, just out of earshot. Eventually, he reaches a door. Fumbling in his dark cloak, he pulls out an iron key and unlocks the door. Inside, a man with dark hair lying down in a bed is revealed. He pulls himself up, revealing snake-like eyes and purple eyeliner in the candlelight. The boy hands him some medicine and places a glass of water on a table next to him. Lord Orochimaru, the preparations will soon be complete. There shall be nothing standing in your way when you finally. Orochimaru slaps a hand over the boy's mouth, cutting him off, before looking into the shadows. Fool! He exclaims and throws dozens of kunai all over the walls. Team RO appears, some members with fresh bloodstains on their Anbu cloaks. Tension builds for a split second before Naruto appears behind Orochimaru and grabs his neck using headhunter jutsu. He pulls him back into the wall, but Orochimaru disappears in a puff of smoke, leaving only the boy, who pulls a black mask over his face, and using a substitution jutsu, barely escapes a multitude of shuriken heading his way. TCH, that Orochimaru. He is really a Sannin. We were hidden well, says Tenzo, looking down. Naruto pats him on the back. No need to feel down, Captain. We accomplished our mission. We confirmed that he is planning something, and now we can search his hideout. He tells him, "You're absolutely right, Fox," Tenzo says. "We have no time to waste, follow my lead." The squad nods and disappears. They spread out through the hideout at top speeds, finding doors and busting them open. Most rooms have been emptied by now, but some test tubes and pods are seen, and there are a few files near them, which are taken instantly. After a few more minutes of this, they all appear at once outside the facility. "We'll look over what we could find when we return," says Tenzo. Everyone nods, and they speed off. A while later, Naruto strolls away from the Hokage's office, arms behind his head. That guy is one crazy scientist. Naruto trails off, thinking of all the documents of inhumane experiments they found. "I didn't really get a lot of it though, haha." He grins and notices Kakashi walking towards the cage tower. "Yo, Kakashi." He waves. "Oh, hello there Naruto. Coming back from a mission?" Kakashi asks, noticing small dirt and scratch marks on his Anbu uniform. "Yeah, what about you? Seems like that cat right there messed up your genin." Naruto chuckles, looking at Sakura and Sayuri's scratched faces and clothes, both looking grumpy and murmuring about D-rank missions. Kakashi just smiles and continues walking. Naruto continues on his way to eat Chiraku ramen. After finishing his ramen, Naruto makes his way towards the west gate, where he sees Team 7. "Another mission, Kakashi?" Naruto asks, waving. "Yeah, it's their first C-rank mission. We're escorting this bridge builder back to his homeland." Kakashi answers. "Nice. Where to?" Naruto asks. "The Land of Waves," says the drunk old man next to them. "Haha, been a while since I've been there, old timer." Naruto grins, reminiscing about his own first escort mission. How long ago was it now? 4, 5 years ago? He thinks. The old man scoffs. "Name's Tazuna for your information, and the Land of Waves ain't so pretty anymore, got it?" Tazuna exclaims. Naruto frowns. Well, it was great when I was there. Why don't I go with you guys? I have some free time, and want to see what's up with whatever that guy says. Naruto points his thumb towards Tazuna while talking to Kakashi. I don't see a problem with that, but I want my genin to get the full experience, so stay hidden, will you? We can go sightseeing once the mission is over. Kakashi proposes with an eye smile. Fine by me. Naruto shrugs and flashes away. Naruto travels hidden alongside Team 7. He stays away, jumping through the trees until he senses the chakra figures hidden in the distant forest. Slowly, they seem to be approaching the unsuspecting genin. He comes to a full stop, scoping out their location before throwing a few kunai in their direction. They instantly slap them away with katanas, only for Naruto to appear directly in front of them. Shock fills both their faces and they try to jump backward but are too slow. Naruto charges 2 giant Rasengans while still in midair. They bring their swords up to deflect the blows, but Naruto has already flashed behind them using another flying Rasengan kunai. The Rasengans plow directly into their backs, causing a massive explosion. They shoot forwards, huge circles of flesh each leaving their backs. The excess wind slices through dozens of trees around them, causing dirt to fly and dust to close around Naruto. Naruto's face is shrouded in darkness as he slowly walks toward the 2 men. One of them has a scar over their eye and an eye patch, while the other wears a beanie with gray hair and has 2 tattoo lines going down under each eye. They howl in pain and stumble while trying to run away. Naruto doesn't stop moving toward them, and as soon as he does, he comes up in front of them and cross-punches the 2 in the gut, before pulling out 2 kunai and placing them behind their necks as they fall backward. Deep cuts form on both of their necks, and Naruto begins to speak. Who are you? He says not as a question but as a command. They both stutter, not able to get any words out. Naruto retracts the kunai, letting them fall on their obliterated backs. They grunt in pain. Naruto then throws the kunai directly next to their faces, cutting each of their ears before speaking dangerously. Who are you? He says. The one with gray hair speaks up. We were Gato's henchmen. He says quickly. Why were you attacking these kids? Naruto says. And not the K-kids. The bridge builder. We have orders to kill him. The one with the eye patch answers. As Naruto realizes that his anger was misplaced, a slight moment of surprise crosses his face, before instantly being replaced by a calculating look. I see. Why? He questions. He's gonna overthrow Gato's control of the waves by building his bridge. That's why. The gray-haired one tries to sit up but failed. Naruto picks his 2 kunai back up, and stabs each of them in the heart once, and then in the eye deep enough to reach the brain another time. Alright, he remarks, before vanishing away using a Shunshin jutsu. Naruto appeared next to Kakashi in the back of Team 7. Naruto tapped his shoulder and passed him a scroll before disappearing. Kakashi's eye widens. Tazuna, may I have a moment? He says dangerously. Tazuna looks surprised, but agrees and walks to the back of the group with Kakashi. Why did you lie about the ranking of this mission? He asks Tazuna. I did no such thing. Tazuna denies Kakashi's claim adamantly. And that is why there were trained shinobi after you? Kakashi asks quietly. What? Where? Tazuna suddenly looks around quickly, his eyes widening. Kakashi rolls his eye. My friend already took care of them. You've got some explaining to do, Kakashi says sternly. The request you put into the Lord Hokage was only that you would be given an escort to protect you from roaming bandits and the such. In any case, this is more than a C-rank mission. Tazuna looks down. To protect you from normal dangers until the bridge would be a simple task, but if you expected to be the target of a ninja assault, then it is beyond question that it would be classified and priced as a mission for at least Chunin level ninja. You may have had your reasons, but it's never a good idea to conceal the facts when asking for help. As it is, this task falls beyond the boundaries of the job we were assigned. Kakashi shakes his head and places his hand on his forehead before sighing. Although, it would be disheartening to my genin if we just turned back around for no reason, and an Anbu level ninja is protecting us from the shadows. Tazuna's eyes widen. Don't worry. A punishment will surely come to you later, but for now, you can rest easy. Kakashi sighs and Tazuna lets out a breath of relief. But before Kakashi can return to the group to tell them all what happened, Tazuna puts a hand on his shoulder. There's something you should know about the request for help I made to your village. As you guessed, this job is more dangerous than you were led to believe. There's a real scary man who wants to see me dead. Tazuna takes a breath. Who is he? Asks Kakashi. You've probably heard of him. He's a billionaire in the field of marine transportation. His name is Gato. Tazuna says fearfully. You mean, Gato, of Gato Shipping and Transport? The Gato? They say he's the richest man in the world. Says Kakashi, very surprised, with a hint of confusion. Tazuna begins. That's the one. On the surface, he looks like a legitimate businessman. The truth is, he's a ruthless, murdering criminal who employs gangs and teams of shinobi and traffics in drugs and contraband. He starts out taking over companies and ends up running entire countries. He lives by every low and vicious trade known to man. It was just 1 year ago that he set his sights on the land of the waves. He came under the guise of a business venture. Then the violence began, and in no time at all, he'd taken over our entire marine transportation and shipping industry, and we were all under his thumb. Gato now has a hold on all forms of transportation, the life of an island nation, and a hold on all the wealth. The only thing he has to fear is that which has been underway for some time. The completion of that bridge. Tazuna finishes loudly, the rest of Team 7 now listening in. I see. And as the architect of the bridge and overseer of its construction, you, Mr. Tazuna, are very much in his way. Deduces Sakura. HN. So the ninja who was trying to attack us were working for Gato then, says Sayuri. Tazuna stays silent. Kakashi speaks up. But, I still don't understand. If you knew you were the target of a ruthless thug with ninjas at his disposal, why didn't you tell us when you asked for our help? Asks Kakashi, looking at the man quizzically. Tazuna sighs and looks away from the group. The land of waves is no longer a real prosperous land. Even our local lords are poor. And I have no money at all. A B-ranked bodyguard would be a lot more than I could afford. Kakashi's eyes widen in understanding. But if you all turn away from me now, then I'm as good as dead. He looks down. Kakashi shows an eye smile. I already said don't worry about it, didn't I? We'll continue to protect you until your bridge is done. Kakashi says, still smiling. Team 7 now makes its way through the water on a boat rowed by a local fisherman. Naruto follows close behind, using chakra to walk on the water. We'll be there soon. The fisherman addresses Tazuna. Tazuna, so far it looks like we've been overlooked. Just to be on the safe side, we'll take an inland waterway through town to a point where we can make landfall under the cover of some mangroves. He says seriously, knowing the risks of getting caught. Tazuna looks up in gratitude. Thank you. Once they arrive, the man speaks up. This is as far as I go. Take care of yourself, he says to the group. Thanks for taking such a risk. I shouldn't have asked it, says Tazuna, and the man speeds away in his boat. Okay, now if I can just make it home in one piece. Tazuna trails off. Kakashi rubs his forehead. There's bound to be another attack, and next time, they won't just send some henchmen. We'll probably face upper-level ninjas. He thinks tiredly, wishing this mission would just end already. Suddenly, Sakura spins around and looks dangerously at a nearby bush. She throws 2 kunai straight into it, which makes thunk noises into what sounds like an animal. Over there, she proclaims boldly. Kakashi walks over to see a dead white rabbit stabbed against a tree. He looks over at Sakura, unimpressed. Sakura looks at it sheepishly. It's just a rabbit, Tazuna exclaims, clearly annoyed. Don't go scaring us. Just calm down, he says loudly at her. Sakura holds the bunny and begs its lifeless body to snap out of it. Sayuri just shakes her head. Kakashi begins thinking. That's a snow hare, he thinks suspiciously. It's springtime, so why is it still wearing its winter pelt, since snow hare fur changes color with the seasons? In the winter, when there is little sunlight, the pelt is white. That hare is a decoy that's been kept indoors, where there isn't a lot of sunshine. This is it. Kakashi begins looking around in the trees for the ninja responsible for leaving it. Meanwhile, a hidden Naruto has also caught on. Suddenly, a leaf branch is heard moving above. Everybody get down, Kakashi yells. A massive sword flies over their ducked heads and slams into a nearby tree. A tall shirtless man appears standing on top of it. Bandages covered his face and he wore striped pants with camo leg and arm warmers. Suddenly, Naruto flashed in front of the group. I was wondering what happened to you, buddy. Naruto grins. Shortly after Naruto had his clones travel back to the village with an arrested Zabuza and Haku after his first encounter with the two, Naruto felt that his clones has disappeared. He shrugged it off and assumed they had made it quickly back to the village. Though once returning he found that they had never made it there, and the two Rouges were still at large. Guess you guys really did escape, huh? Naruto strolls over to a shocked Zabuza, who curses. How long has it been? Huh? Naruto twirls a kunai in his hand as he counts his fingers. 3, 4, 5. 5 years, huh? He says, still smiling. Zabuza pulls his sword out of the tree and drops to the ground in front of Naruto. You know, I did say I would win next time we met, you little brat, Zabuza says menacingly. Hey now, don't start the fun without me, Naruto. Kakashi walks over to stand beside Naruto. Zabuza looks surprised. Kakashi of the Sharingan, I presume? Zabuza asks. Kakashi says nothing as he lifts his headband to reveal a spinning Sharingan eye. And you must be Zabuza Momochi. Demon of the Mist, Kakashi says. Guess we were in each other's bingo books. Zabuza states. Fall back, Kakashi, says Naruto sternly. I can finish this guy on my own. Plus, we've got a score to settle. Naruto explains. Kakashi looks surprised, but nods. Focus on protecting the old man from Zabuza's little friend, Naruto adds, before resuming his stance against the rogue ninja before him. Alright Zabuza, let's see if you can back up that claim of yours, Naruto smirks. That's all for now. If you enjoyed then please like, share and do comments.